Happy Friday. Happy cocktail night. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Deanna. It's great to see you. Let me just move this chair. It's hitting me in the back of the legs. Great to see you. Happy Friday. It is time for fun. It is party time. Obviously, it's party time because I'm holding a Truly. It's not my favorite, but it's nice and fresh. It's nice and fresh. And thank you, Jay. I don't mean to sound ungrateful. It's what's in the fridge. So, you know what, let me get rid of, you know what, I'm going to need this here because tonight is an unboxing night. So I might as well have a lot of chairs about me. Happy Friday, everybody. Let me check and see which buddies are here. It's been a nonstop couple of days since I've been back from Wisconsin. As you know, it was such a great trip. Such a great trip. And isn't it amazing that I could go to the Sheep and Fiber Festival and cruise around and buy a bunch of stuff, treasures and loot everywhere. I just love Wisconsin. I love it. And I bought so much that I wouldn't fit in my suitcase. We all know this story. But I feel like, I might be wrong here, but I feel like the last time I flew, which because of my fear of flying has been about 6 or 7 years until Wisconsin. But I feel like last time I flew, if your suitcase was overweight, it was like $70 extra. And this time it was minimum $200 extra. And I thought, well, that's a deterrent. 70 is like, they mess with you a little bit, you know, when you're like bent over a barrel and there's nothing you can do with your stuff if you can't stuff it in your pockets. But $200 is a different story. So Kaz and I went to UPS, plug for UPS, because they are so good. They're very good with large boxes and stuff like that. The measurement doesn't matter so much because the weight isn't that much. It's mostly fiber. So we will have the unboxing. We're going to look in this episode. It's a cocktail night, so it's a little bit longer tonight. We're going to look at the conclusion of the rugs from the Cream City Rug Show at the Wisconsin Sheep and Fiber Festival. And then I'm going to take out the box and show you the stuff that I bought. I'm sure we all would have bought different stuff, but I'm very excited about the stuff that I bought. And I honestly can't believe I sent it on Tuesday afternoon and it got here to Connecticut from Wisconsin. It got to Connecticut on Thursday morning. What a world, right? Some things are so good. Other things just big, huge chain pullers, right? There's not a lot in between, is there? Linda, it's a great photo, isn't it? A passerby took that photo. Beautiful background. That's a gallery in Ephraim. I think we had this conversation last time, or at least I asked about it 10 times. I think it was Ephraim, something like that, in Door County, Wisconsin. Beautiful gallery. Super, super interesting work inside and super interesting work on the exterior of it too. It's an absolutely beautiful barn kind of building with thousands, I was going to say hundreds, but it's got to be thousands of signatures. Really, really fun day. Actually, that is quite good. That is really refreshing. Melanie, great to see you. Oh, I'm so glad you're there for cocktail night. Welcome. Ryan, happy Friday in North Texas. Hard seltzers, cutting up t-shirts. You're working on a large floor mat. Peace and love to you too. Are you going to send us a picture of the floor mat for gallery night? Let's do gallery night next week. It must be time, right? We always have so much content. Let's go for next week. I'd love to see what you're working on, Ryan. God, this is good. I'm not going to drink for thirst, I promise, or it's going to be a tough show. Blueberry is excellent. Sorry, I'm just checking that my mic and everything's on because remember they updated me the other day. Becky, great to see you. Good evening. You had a crazy day today, so this is the relaxation time. Me too. I had a crazy day, and now I'm just, it's time to bring it down and talk about fun stuff and let our minds wander, let the conversation wander. This isn't a heavily scripted night, right? I have a few slides from the show, more than a few, and then spontaneously looking at fun stuff. I don't know yet what order I'm going to put it in, but yes, I love these, for me, kind of unscripted nights where I don't have a lot of cues for myself because it's so relaxing. You know what wasn't relaxing? I had my first physical therapy yesterday, not last night. Would not have been relaxing at night because, well, let's walk into this together. You might need earmuffs because some of this might not be for everyone. So I went in for the physical therapy and I've already had the x-ray and I'm scheduled for an MRI, and they also wanted to schedule me for a nerve test. And what it sounds like and what it seems like is that I have like a huge knot, right? Because I've been stressed for so many years, super stressed. and I don't manage stress well, and yada yada yada. So she found a huge, like a bad knot, right? And we got to work on the knot. But it is obviously affecting my neck, my shoulder, my arms, and my fingers, my fingertips, all of that. So everything tingles, and it's all like trapped under this knot. So that's not a surprise. That's also what the doctor said. So at least it's good when things match. But she did this thing called earmuffs. If you're not into needles, she did this thing called dry needling. Have you had that done yet? Because I know a lot of people have, and I'm late to the party. I'm not going to describe it in case you haven't, because it's going to sound awful, but it actually was not painful. It was more like mentally awful. A little bit like acupuncture, maybe a little bit more aggressive. But man, she got right in there. And she said, do you want to try the dry needling now on the knot? And the idea being that if they can move, so I was doing like a whisking, like I was whisking an egg. That's what I'm talking about. That's the earmuffs part. But she said if we can loosen up that knot, then it kind of sends a spasm down your arm, and everything relaxes after that a little bit. So it's going to be an ongoing, but I thought that was interesting. I had not had that done before. I knew about acupuncture. I'd never had that done, but I never had this dry needling done. So if that gets put to you and you haven't had it yet, I would say you definitely feel it, but if it wasn't, for me, it wasn't painful. It was like, don't overthink it. Because she said, you want to start next time you come for physical therapy. And I said, no, because if I go home and I start thinking about you putting the needles in and wiggling them around, I'm going to come back and say, no, thanks, not today, Satan. But I said, let's just do it right now, and then I'll know. And it really was nothing. So, and she said it's going to hurt more the first day, and it was a bit tingly. And then she said after that, it should be getting better and better. Who knew, right? Exciting. Really exciting, and so scary too. I was so freaked out. Priscilla, great to see you. Cheers, my dears, in sunny Akron, Ohio. Cheers, my dears. I bet you all have exciting things in your hands, do you? Coffees, juices, even that's also exciting, isn't it? Melissa, great to see you. I've been loving your photos. I love all the photos you post. I love your family photos. But I also love the fall thing you posted. And you said, I love fall so much. You had just come in from a walk. I am thirsty. Carol, there you are. You're there for cocktail night. Lots of memories going to come back now, just from the other day. So not long-term memories, but still fun to reminisce. God, I'm distracted by the sky tonight. It is so beautiful and pink. It's like I've never seen it so pink out that window before. I was thinking, oh no, what's going on? But it is actually just a beautiful sunset out there. Kirsten, great to see you in Vermont. Great to see you. And Linda H. in Massachusetts, waiting for the arrival. I wonder if the beautiful sky is part of the atmospheric stuff. Not that there can't be a beautiful pink sky, sailor's delight, but yeah, I'm wondering about that too. I know I'm worried about the Cape, right? My favorite place, because there's a hurricane warning for the Cape. Bummer. Hope nothing beautiful goes away anywhere for anybody. I hope it's I'm going to do a Kirsten Gay reference, Tempest in a Teacup, right? That was a good one, wasn't it? I didn't even work on that late last night, right? I wasn't up late coming up with that, hoping Linda H. Georgian would be safe in the storm. Linda, you are in the pathway, the warning zone of the tropical storm? Oh man. All right. Well, fingers crossed, eyes crossed, toes, everything. Yeah, we'll have to follow that closely. I haven't been following the news at all. I've been in catch-up mode, big time, not on my burger. Just catching up on orders and on videos. I put out a video today. I'll tell you about that in just a minute. Kaz, you logged on too. Good to see you in Wisconsin. And Joyce, great to see you. Cheers, my dears, in Pennsylvania. Cheers, my dears, Diane. Great to be there. I'm so glad you're there. Happy Friday night. Friday already. Linda, you say you're all hunkered down. All right, fingers crossed. We'll be thinking about you and keeping an eye on the news. Oh, so much, right? It's always so much happening. Gosh, the weather, I just feel, is getting crazier and crazier. And it is. Obviously, there's no ozone anymore. Bad news. April, great to see you. Happy Friday night. Joy, happy Friday night from Florida. Great to see you. Lisa, hello in Pennsylvania. Great to see you. Ruth, good evening in Wisconsin. Great to see you. Colleen in Maryland. happy Friday night. Great to see you. It's next week, your show, right? Your art show. The fair is next week. Give a plug for that if you can, Colleen. Tell everybody where it is because I saw your post. I was trying to repost it too. Maybe post it in our group too. I would love to see your post that said, oh, there's also some rugs that are going to be there at the fair. And you put the town, maybe post it in the group if you want. I would love to see it there so everybody knows and nobody misses it. And Dave, great to see. Okay, what's it going to be? Cheese omelet and hard cider, working on the autumn magic. Fantastic. I can't wait to see how it's going with that. Shawnita Smith, great to see you. Great to see you. Happy Friday night. Cheers, my dears. And thankfully not hurricane force. Okay. And as it goes bumping along, maybe it loses some of its mojo, right? Hopefully. Wendy, great to see you. I was just thinking about you. Beautiful evening in Western Pennsylvania. Yeah, no, Colleen, do it. Post it. Definitely post it in our group. Our group on Facebook, if you're on Facebook and you're new to me, a Rug Hooking and Punch Needle Club. It's not me, it's us. It's a big us. It's a big group here watching the shows on Mondays, Wednesdays at noon, right, Eastern Standard Time. And on Friday night, Cocktail Night is a double episode at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's the one you're catching now if you're new. And it is a nice big group. And I haven't been in the Facebook group a ton lately. I have to tell you something that Shannon said. I know she's not on today because she's traveling to a cabin with her dad and her daughter, and they're going to a bluegrass festival this weekend, so they're gone for a couple of days. But she said, we go back and forth a lot, and she said, one of the past episodes, I was shooting my mouth off, and I said something like, I'm really getting to, it must have been a gallery night, I'm really getting to know everybody's style. And it's becoming easier and easier to recognize the style of all of you who log on and friends in the Facebook group. And she said, wouldn't it be fun to do an episode where she put together the slideshow, right, that we look at, and like a multiple choice, 3 choices, like whose rug is this? And I'll guess, and then you all guess in the comments. That could be a fun episode. I wish we could pipe in some, game show music, ba, 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 da, ba, but we probably can't because then it would be cut right there, and that'll be the end of that fun. But it sounded like a really fun idea. I'd love that kind of challenge. Mom, great to see you. Nothing's happened yet. You didn't miss a thing. Not yet. We were just talking about the storm making its way over and wondering what's in its course and what's going to happen. Hoping it peters out. You've got your martini. Sounds good. Well, let's catch up on a couple of things. Let me have one more sip. I am extremely thirsty. I wonder why. I didn't do anything crazy. I didn't have like a giant all-you-can-eat Chinese food buffet or anything like that. I'm just super thirsty. So let's catch up on a few things first before we get into the meat of the night. So I posted a video today. I was working on, I'm doing a bunch of projects in the autumn advent calendar from the bags, right? And I've got 4 things going on right now, and I'm trying to record the videos as quickly as I can, but I'm also trying to catch up on orders. So oh God, the sky is even prettier. I wonder if I can take a picture and you could see it. There's a dead bug right over there, which is not such a pretty part. Yeah, let me just do this and show it to you. You can see what's going on a little bit. Can you see that pink sky? It's way pinker than it looks on the monitor. It's really bright. That's the ring light too. That's reflecting off my face as well. It looks, I hate to say it, but it looks like there's a fire out there. I'll keep an eye on that. So I've been working on some projects from the autumn box, and I've got quite a few going. There's a few things I've been working on that I haven't recorded videos for yet, but I will this weekend. Because I teach in Madison. If you're local, I teach in Madison, Connecticut at Madison Wool, Mad Wool. I'm doing the Mini Punch Split Bloom Garden class, right? So that is super fun. I will be there on Sunday for that, starting at 1. Some of the other projects, if you are opening the Autumn Advent calendars, you probably opened the little frame, right? That I have one of those. I don't know if you've noticed that I sometimes wear it. I don't have it on today. I should have put it on. Mine is a circle, and I rug hooked monk's cloth and fit it into the circle and like glued the little back on. If you have the advent calendar and you saw that little frame, that's the kind of thing I'm thinking of. But I gave you some ideas. This is the exact size of the frame. So I gave you some ideas of very simple things that would read well. I'm going to hook one of these onto monk's cloth or burlap or some little scrap of whatever I have and mount it into that thing. I'll do that over the weekend. so that I can wear it or use it as an ornament in my vignette. We'll see, but that's one of the projects I've got going. I'm working on the leaves with the faces that I drew live. That video came out. Oh, it's getting warm in here now. That video came out this past week. And I also did one that had that mid-century modern split bloom garden look to it with all of the kind of diagonals, almost like a stained glass window. I've got both of those on frames right now. I took this off the frame this morning. I don't know if you caught this video yet, but it is Mrs. Jack. So one of the days had some novelty material plus little gridded images of Mr. and Mrs. Jack. So these are patterns that are exclusive to the Autumn Advent Calendar. And I've been filling in Mrs. Jack. This is the working side I've been working on. I had the question in the video. I just posted the video this afternoon. What yarns am I using to complete it? I am using sock yarn, and I'm using the very thin acrylic spools, Pretty Punch and DEE Light. So those are available on like eBay, Etsy. Those are vintage and finite. But most of what this is, can you see close up? All of the sort of orange, I'm rethinking Jill's face because I had a color change. Can you see I have the color changing stripies coming down? I was trying to make it like the ridges on a pumpkin, but I think it's distracting. I think I'm gonna pull that out. I don't know if you noticed from the video as well, I felt like she had a very thick neck. I know how I feel about my thick neck, and I didn't want to do that to Jill. So I actually changed the pattern and I pared down the neck a little bit. It's shadowed on one side, but I made the neck and I introduced like the purple in the side. I literally pulled out what I had done from the video, took my Sharpie and just drew a slimmer neck, you know, more like a swan's neck. So I'm really enjoying working on this, and yes, it is mostly sock yarn that I've bought over the years, and I have it hanging on my pegboard, tons and tons of it. So all of this is sock yarn. There's a few parts that aren't so far. Some of the solids are not sock yarn. So this is the acrylic stuff. That's probably Delight brand. Struggling with focus. Doesn't want to do it, but there's very few spots so far. I think this bright one, it's not reading well at nighttime with all of the lighting I have set up, but the solid parts are the very thin acrylic, and all the rest of it is sock yarn. And today, while I was filling it in, I did this in our Facebook group too. I decided I wanted a pattern on her dress. So I just freehanded a bunch of pumpkins, and I'm maybe adding faces. I'm thinking about it because I was thinking, you know, I love the lamb's tongue. I love the sort of echo fill of the background, the purple background behind her. I really like it. But I felt like I didn't want a solid dress, and then I thought, let's do some stripies, and I thought, too many patterns, like too many predictable patterns at play. And I thought, how about something rounder that kind of mimics the shape of the lamb's tongues and Jill's head? Like I wanted to emphasize the motifs that were more important, right? Her, like the portrait of her, and the border is very bold. So I thought something round, also fall. It's got to be a pumpkin. Because I was also thinking about stars, and I thought, too predictable. So I just did a bunch of pumpkins in different sizes, and I'll have to see how it goes as I fill it in. I haven't filled in her teeth yet, or the whites of her eyes, right? So she looks a bit like, whoa, but she will look very well articulated when I finish with all of that. And it'll be a lot of fun to play with the color here. And the more I looked at it, I was kind of thinking black dress, and I'm still thinking black dress. I'm going to catch up on the comments too. I see there's some good comments there. I like the black dress. And then I was thinking about the color of the pumpkins, because I was thinking, do I want to repeat the colors in the borders? I don't. I don't know if you can tell just by looking at it like this, but I'm very heavy purple, orange, pink, salmon, like that family. And yeah, purple, more purple. So I'm thinking, do I want to put more orange and purple into the pumpkins? And then I thought, maybe I want to go completely different and maybe do something like, see, I have to go with my gut is saying stay away from blues and greens because I want it to look like candy colors. But at the end of the day, if I want it to be really effective, I really have to think about all the possibilities. And I'm thinking it might be good. I might reach, I might not. I might see how it goes and experiment with like a darker purple palette, like a real inky, dark blue purple for the pumpkins. I might alternate them. I might also fill the pumpkins with a lot of neutral colors. I have a lot of neutral colors, like lots of different shades of gray, lots of soft antique mauves and pinks, and that kind of very neutral pink, right? That doesn't read as a pink, but more as a neutral. Sage greens, like Wedgwood blues, like those kinds of soft values of those kinds of colors. So I'm thinking about all kinds of things. I think the next thing I'll do in terms of solving the problem of what to do, I think I'm going to complete the border, fill in the rest of the lamb's tongues around the border, and I'll fill in the face and perfect the face. And then once I have that information, um, I think I'll be able to make a better decision about her dress. I am really happy with it, though. I'm very excited. I've been really enjoying that. So yeah, fun, super fun. Let me catch up. Judy says, if there's time, we can get a tour of the seasonal treasures behind you on the mantle. Absolutely. I keep changing it up because I keep, Colleen, look who's here. It's the sheep that you made me, the cedar sheep, right? Because it also wards away moths and stuff, right? So I've got some of my great treasures. My friend Ann Polizzo made me this. I'll show you in detail. It's this whole. Oh, you know what? Oh my gosh, a fence. I'm gonna have to remove our fruity. I didn't realize the fruity garland was still there. I better get the gourds back out. Remember, I had that little garland with those miniature gourds. This is offensive. Now I am shocked. I'm not gonna just rip it down because it's like super papery stuff. But I cannot believe that I still have that fruity summer border up. That goes immediately. Um, I like the way Jill's head is reminiscent of candy corn. Yeah, me too. I like the, I used a really bright, the more I look at it, the more I don't like the shading on her head. It just didn't come out. And the reason it didn't come out was because the darker orange that I used was flecked with black. So it was orange and black. And because it was variegated, it changed colors at odd times. I also am not sure about these lips. Like, granted, the teeth aren't in there, but I'm thinking like, Mammy, or Swanee, how I love you. Like, it's not good. It's not good the way it is. So I think I might rethink this area. I'm not sure. It might be fine once the teeth and everything are there, but it is a bit of a Swanee River kind of bad look right now, if you see what I mean. It's bad. It seems very objectionable. So I have to rethink how I'm going to work on that. I didn't notice it until I held it up in the monitor, which is not good. But I'll figure it out. I wanted her to look like she had lipstick on, right? But I don't want her to look like she's like a living like racial slur either. So I'm going to have to think about that. And yeah, there's a few angles here I have to think about. It's not going painlessly, this piece, but it is fun to work on. That's for sure. I like the way Jill said, yes. Juliet says, late to the party, but nice to hear a live show again. Good to have you there, Juliet. It's great to see you. So that's a to be continued. Let me sort out all of those stupid problems and let's make this a very, very friendly, colorful candy palette Jill. And then I'll do the jack to go with her and a few other things. Move the hat brim down so it covers her eyes. It'll be more of a sultry look. Ooh, interesting. You know, that's not a bad idea. I was thinking she had on her little fascinator, like a little bowler hat, you know. I'm going to show her to you this way because I think she looks better. She doesn't look like as offensive as she did on the other side. That does look better, right? That does look a bit more normal. I'm going to have to, yeah, I might just take the lips out of that because I don't like to do stuff that it could even remotely be read as that kind of naughty. That would be awful. So we'll see. To be continued. I might change the hat. We'll see. I gotta also look at Jack's hat because they're kind of a matching pair. And I want, I don't want the colors to match either between the two of them. So it's tricky. It's tricky, but it's fun. This is one of the projects in the autumn advent calendar and I'm really excited about it. Felt Balls is coming up too. So this is coming up too. I'm going to say more on that later, not in this episode, but later this week. And then there's a couple more things that are coming up this week that we're going to work on together. So that'll be super, super fun. Oh, okay, so two things, and let's open the box first. I got to show you some of the stuff I got, and then we'll look at some rugs, and then we'll look at more stuff from the Fiber Festival, and then we'll look at more rugs, and we'll just flip-flop back and forth like fools for the whole episode, right? That'll be really fun, like a bumpy ride, right? Hold on one sec. I am so thirsty. So I have two things that are coming to the calendar that I've been talking about for a while. Three, actually. The dying thing I'm going to put up this weekend. I need a shout out from you. I wanted to do kind of like a, I'm trying to think of a cool way to package it, a neat way of saying it, but like a cornucopia, not a cornucopia. Still thinking about it, but I want to do a mixed bag. Mixed bag, maybe that's it. Pig's breakfast. That's it. Didn't we say we are going to say it was the pig's breakfast dyeing kit, where we do a bunch of different? So it'll be a dye class for people that want to learn all different kinds of things: straight, solid dyeing, modeling, hand painting, different types of hand painting methods. Maybe, I don't know if you want to do mason jar or tie dye or any of those. There's so many things. Dip dye, the ombre dip, um, Promagons, coat hanger method. There's a bunch of things that I've taught in different classes. I'd like to do one class that's kind of a sampler of all of them. And what I might do is a pre-recorded video. I don't like to do that because I like to be with you live and I like for you to be able to ask questions. But I feel like if I do a video in advance and it's really comprehensive and it's long, I can divide it into chapters. So for example, while you're watching, you're like, yeah, I already got that part, but show me the thing with the coat hanger again. Then you can go to the, for example, the part of the video where it's called coat hanger. So it's more dip dyeing, but Promagon used, like I'm giving it away now, used a like a pulley method over a coat hanger that was kind of cute. That's in some of those early books. Black Moggy Stitcher, I'm up for a bumpy ride. You're in Bristol, Connecticut. You're super close to me. Are we already buddies? I don't recognize your photo's this big, but I don't recognize you. I hope we're gonna be buddies soon. Um, Melanie said, tilt the hat to cover one eye like Jessica Rabbit. Oh, like Jessica Rabbit. I could do that. We'll see. It depends on if I have it in me to undo it as well. We'll see how it goes. I'm so flat out all the time, but yeah, I'll see. I'm gonna tweak the heck out of her and then make good decisions about her look. And yeah, I'm excited to get back to her though, but I do want to get going on some other stuff. Let me make sure I'm caught up here. Catherine, it's so much fun opening the little autumn bags each day. Oh, I was so glad. You know, they all have a purpose in my head. I don't think there's any, you don't have to use them for the purpose, but as I'm back now, as I catch up, this is like my second day back. As I catch up this month, I have lots of things to show, lots of videos. I'm working really on more videos than I've done in a really long time. I have another video started. I want to finish it tomorrow. I ran out of time before the show, but there's lots of little things happening. So I'm going to be announcing it. It's not available yet. I need to put the image together, right? I need to get the image together and make a final decision about techniques for the dyeing class. But you will see that appear over the weekend if you are up for a dyeing class. I'm definitely going to do the stockings, put the stockings in it too. I might do silk tie and throw in a couple of neckties. It's just going to be a pig's breakfast. So that's coming up. Also, I was deciding on the next design like, and you know, sometimes we do fine artists and sometimes we do ideas. Like, remember we did the design like the tavern sign painter or a design like mid-century modern. Some of the classes are based on a subject or sort of design aesthetic rather than a specific painter. I just loved doing Rousseau this last month, but I want the pendulum to swing very, very far. So what I'm going to do for this month, and I hope it appeals to a lot of people, and I'm going to talk you into it really, really easily, like putting a horse into the stall here, right? And push you right in here, because we're coming up on Halloween. Whether you celebrate Halloween or not, however you feel about any holiday, right? I want to do this month designing like the playing card / tarot card, and it is not going to be a pagan episode. I'm not going to brainwash you or teach you how to use a tarot deck because I don't know how to use a tarot deck. But what I do like about tarot cards is the fact that there are 78 beautiful art images in every deck. And for me, the different themes over the years from like the Victorian period to contemporary decks, I mean, you can get Gummy Bear tarot cards, or you can get Doctor Who tarot cards, or Adventure Time, or whatever. You know, there's like they're everything. It's the Golden Girls tarot cards. You can get anything, but the art on them is sometimes so exquisite it just makes me ache. So I want to get into a conversation on playing cards and tarot cards. not using them, right? Not talking you into them or anything like that. Just purely looking at the cards as iconic, right? Everybody knows what tarot cards are, but we're going to break down the different sort of categories, the different types, right? The historic ones versus the contemporary ones, the kinds of designs that we're seeing now, and there's going to be a lot of very quick drawing exercises because these are small compositions. And drawing cards are something that can be also two-sided, right? Because we are looking at playing cards as well. So just looking at the idea of designing cards, it's a very graphic episode. It will be a very graphic class this month. So that will be coming up in the beginning of October, and I will advertise that. I don't think it's up yet. I'll just double check, but I don't think it's up just yet. That is the next design like. And there's one other thing that I was working on today. I think this is up. Let me show you. This is where we left off, so don't let me forget. This is 166. This is what I want to show you. So this went up. I'm not sure if it's in the Facebook group yet, but this just went up before the show. This is just like the picture for it for this moment. I did this like in 10 minutes before the show, making the little vignettes and stuff. But this is going to be a product that starts shipping the first week of October because it ships to me on October 1st. It is going to be a grab bag with 5 ounces, which is a lot of wool and yarn, 100% wool bag, right? There's no novelty stuff in here. We're doing our novelty stuff in the month of September. We're working on Halloweeny projects and autumn projects that can involve novelty fibers. This is completely different. This is one bag. It's a trick-or-treat bag. The bag is random. It's going to be one of these bags that you get. It's 8 by 12. But one of these random design, and inside 5 ounces of 100% wool and yarn, 2 and 3 ply yarn, and door wool, hand dyed, maybe some plaids in there too, or some over dyeds. But the palette is going to be traditional primitive colors. So while every bag will be different and unique, and if you order more than one bag, I think this is a $45 product. It's going to be loaded, right? I say it's 5 ounces, but you know I always put extra. So it's going to be a full bag of beautiful supplies with a reusable drawstring bag, which is very, very nice for this time of year. And it's going to be filled with traditional primitive colors, hand-dyed, over-dyed plaid. So very traditional, going toward Thanksgiving and going into winter, right? Please make a note if you order this product, because this product is live, please make a note because it comes as cut number 6. If you want your wool not cut, or if you want a different cut, 3, 5, 7, or 8, just please make a note, right? Because it automatically comes with, I will cut it to a 6. That's the Sizzix I have out on the table. That's what I'll do. But if you want something else, just let me know. So that should be a lot of fun. And as I say, this product, the bags ship to me on October, I think 1st or 2nd. So as soon as I get them, I'll have everything pre-made, boom, right into the bag. Trick or treat, right? And then you can decide if you want to save it for like Halloween night as a treat for you while you're answering your doorbell maybe. But yeah, never too old to trick or treat, right? That's what I wrote on the product. So that is live right now. And I think it is a limited number, but I think I'm making something like, I think it's probably going to be 85, right? So that's a lot. But I know some people will order more than one, and if you do, you will not get the same, you will not get any repeats in your bags. I'm super careful with stuff like this. So if you order 2 bags, unless you tell me you want doubles, you will get 2 different bag designs and you will get 2 completely different grab bags. So there's no repeats of any of the colors unless you tell me otherwise. So Juliet says, an interesting class would be to explain the process technique for taking a scene, a vista, and distilling it down to the important elements, describing it, and ID what details. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. That's a great idea for a composition class. Particularly for us as rug hookers, right? Because not everybody does realism. And if you don't do realism, and for example, you work from your own photographs, you do have to make these decisions about what to keep and what to get rid of. And it's such a personal decision. But there are sort of filters, right? Thought filters that can help steer you toward a really perfect composition that isn't confusing to look at. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Melissa, I know you're looking forward to all of the October stuff. I know you're a big Halloween person like I am. So let's see. Let's look at some of the stuff. We're gonna look at rugs again in a minute. Let me show you some of the stuff that I did get back on the plane. We're talking about the Wisconsin Fiber Festival and how amazing it was. It was amazing. Carol, Kaz, do you want to chime in with how amazing it was? It was like two what looked like airplane hangars filled with stalls, stalls upon stalls upon stalls. It was it was unbelievable. It was so exciting. Like I said in the last episode, I think my eyes were dilated the entire time. Mm. Thank you for the product link. I think that was Jay posting in the other room posting the product link. So of course we saw the Sheep and Fiber Festival. We're looking at wool, right? And other stuff too. We're looking at spinning wheels, all kinds of spinning machines, drop spindles, beautiful like woodworking stuff that pertains to fiber, using fiber, spinning, carding, all of the whole process from beginning to end, but also mostly finished products like yarn, wool, roving, curls, felt, wool applique stuff, penny rug stuff. There were a couple of rug hooking stalls. Fiberfest is worth the effort. Yeah, I mean, even if you have to crawl there on your hands and knees, next year you just get crawling. Put those knee pads on like you're an umpire or something, and just get crawling. I mean, it is so good. It's crazy. So when we started, we had this quaint idea that because there was like four. It was right, Ruth. It was Ruth, me, Kaz, Carol. No, Carol, you weren't there for that. Robin and Gail, Carol's sister. And then Jill met up with us later. Fiberfest was wonderful, wonderful. We said, let's not buy anything right now. Let's take a survey. And of course you can't do that because other people start touching your stuff and then you get crazy. No, Carol was at the wedding, Kaz, remember? We didn't see her till the next day when we went to, Gail was there. Carol was there in spirit. So you know what I did before I flew to Wisconsin? This is the reason I have a huge knot in my back. I'm crazy, right? You know that part already. But I got into this panic thing. I was looking at the festival's website and I was looking at the links to the different vendors that would be there. And I started, I do not have the time for this. I do not have the time. But it was a stop me before I kill again. And I kept clicking on, clicking on the different vendors and looking at their stuff, and it kept saying sold out. And I got panicked. So I had to order one item from Bumblebee Acres. Bumblebee Acres was one of my favorite stalls that was at the Fiber Festival. Bumblebee, just like Bumblebee. I feel like this is actually a new camera. I feel like the camera hasn't been that great lately. Maybe we should bring the old camera back. It says Bumblebee Acres, oneword.com. Beautiful website. Just snagged a bag. Oh, excellent. So remember, they ship in October. As soon as they're here, and if they ship early because they're coming from Maine, I will get them out to you early. It'll be fun. I wonder if you're going to do your thing again, Ryan, where you try to work on a project that's just based on the one thing. That'd be really fun. So I went on Bumblebee Acres website and I saw that they had one of this yarn in stock, and I was on my couch like in Connecticut. I had no business shopping yet, but I did. So I ordered this. It actually came while I was away in Wisconsin, again from Bumblebee Acres, this beautiful sock yarn. It's called Ghost Pumpkin. So what I liked about it, let me just show it to you, because I know not everybody is used to using yarn or hooking with yarn or punching with yarn. This is actually maybe DK. Is this DK weight? Yeah, this is squishy DK. So DK is a little bit thicker. The squishy is a good word for it. It's a little bit more plush than sock yarn. It's a little bit thicker and a little bit spongy, So just so you know, and I know most of you know this, but if you don't, if you're new to the channel, you're new to fibers, if you see stuff like this, so this cost $29, right? That's not a bad price. You often see skeins of yarn in knitting stores that are like this for $38, right? So this is a good price point. Anything in the 20s is a good price point. So just so you know, this is part of the Halloween collection. The reason it said sold out, which Kaz told me when I got to Wisconsin, was because the vendors they put everything in their store basically sold out so they can bring it to the Fiber Festival. Had I but known that, there'd be a smaller knot in my bag. So this is Squishy DK. It's from the Halloween collection. Again, it's called Ghost Pumpkin. It might be there if they didn't sell out. There were some at the fair. It's 75% superwash merino wool and 25% nylon. It is 4-ply. Now it's not 4-ply like Briggs and Little. That would be super bulky for Briggs and Little. This is much, much thinner. This is a DK weight. 246 yards in this. So what can you do with this kind of stuff, right? Because at the Fiber Festival, there were 2 rug hooking stalls, but most of the stalls, if they sold fiber, were selling yarn, right? What do you do with this in this form? Well, you could do like, old times, right? And somebody holds it like this for you and you roll it into a ball, and then you have a ball. That works great. A lot of people put it on a swift, which looks sometimes like an umbrella. I always use my Amish Swift, which is a table Swift, which is almost like just a cross on the table on a Lazy Susan. And I put it right over there, and I hook one strand of it to my winder. So it's a Swift and a winder, and I wind it up into a beautiful cake, and then I hook from it. I pull it from the center, and I hook from it or punch with it. And if I were going to hook with this, I might, unless I was doing something very small scale, I always use the same hook, right? It's like a medium kind of a hook. It's officially a large hook, right? But it's the medium size in my mind, right? Because hooks are not really standardized. We can buy the Joan Moshimers. That's the only sort of system, but every company that makes hooks, they're different. It's a moving target. So I would either hook with this and probably double it up, maybe even quadruple it up if I really wanted to go fast, and or punch it. And if I punched it, I could punch it. I could punch it in a fine punch needle. If you want to double it up or something, it would probably go good through a traditional punch, the regular needle, but this would work in a fine. This is also going to work in, for example, an ultra punch, and that's what I was doing with Mrs. Jack. But you can see it's color changing. There's a little bit of yellow in it. There's a little bit of oranges in it. So with these kinds of skeins, when you pick something like this up, you have to fully anticipate that it's going to change color, right? That's what happened in the background of Jill. It changes color as you go. That purple background is one skein, but it has a lot of little colors in it. And that's what happens when you get these variegated backgrounds. Yarns, right? They're good for backgrounds, they're good for borders, but for fills, it's a little bit tricky because you don't know when the colors are going to change. Makes it exciting, but it's also a little bit tricky. So that was a fun thing to find. There's also lots of this kind of thing. This is very big right now. This is not a dip dye. This is not an ombre sequence of mini skeins. This is just a kitted set of mini skeins. Let me show you the colors first. So they go from a real kind of, I would say like a lime, this is a lime green, much brighter than it seems, maybe even a leaf green, to a pea green, to a caramel, to a rust, to a cranberry, to more of a burgundy magenta. But I just loved the way that it looked. It's called the Flower Power set. I would not have called it that, I have to say. But it's by Fiber Optic Yarns. This is another one of the vendors that was there. So 6 skeins, each 140 yards, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon, 80% wool. So a little bit of stretch to it, which is very nice for hooking and punching. Again, this is what I'm using for Jill. So Fiber Optic Yarns, they had lots of pretty sets. They had single skeins. It has a very high luster, right? So what would I do with something like this? I might even do a background, right? I might do a background and do something like from the ground up, color changing, right? Just like you would with dip dyed wool, right? Cut into strips. But I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do with it. I know it's a beautiful color palette. I think this was $66. So seems like a lot, but it's a beautiful color palette. And I could have taken a photo of it, right, and said, oh, I want to do a palette like this. But somebody thought of this color palette, right? And I feel like that's some kind of intellectual property. So instead I bought it. And I want to use exactly these colors. And I'll probably do a project for one of my books because I can't kit it, right? Because I'm not going to kit something that costs $66 in a set and then start from there. But there were lots of beautiful sets and lots of beautiful skeins. There was some oddball stuff too. Like I've got some oddball stuff here. This was at a nice stall. This stall was called, Honey Gold Acres. Honey Gold Acres. And this is not a Halloween colored one, right? So for me, that's odd. Although it might turn into a Halloween sky, right? It's another one of these beautiful color changing. This is 100% wool. So lots of nice change there. Lots of, it's hard to see on the monitor, but there's lots of beautiful periwinkle kind of purple colors. Lots of fading in there. This was only $26. Well, that is kind of the right price. They had some skeins at that stall that were 14, that were thicker ply, so less yardage. This is 382 yards. This would also make something great. If I was like a better knitter or crocheter, it would make something great. But it was just another beautiful, reminded me of a magical, maybe fall sky, right, with some pretty trees against it too. My head is on fall, right, because that's where we're at right now. Let me just pick up this stuff before I have a proper mess. And then I got this little one. This was all at the beginning. This was a one-off fiber art Fay and Antolek. Antolek. You can see that. That's kind of a tricky one. But this was a stall that had a lot of sort of one-offs. And they had this funny hand-spun yarn, 40% wool, 60% polyester. It looks, and it was $22, 80 yards. So this is a little bit thicker and more coarse, but you see how there's like the brownie color with the orange color. It's such a pretty autumn color. And these are all like flying off of it, like little bibbly boops, right? I don't know what they are, but they're super, super cute. So I thought, I don't know what I'm doing with that yet, but I just love the three-dimensional quality. It was a bit of a cross between you're having your cocktail, Jill, in Wisconsin. What a joy to meet you. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. We had a nice little meal out at, well, I had cheese curds, of course, and pineapple lemonade, right? I was trying to do the Wisconsin stuff. I don't know if that's Wisconsin, but I've never heard of it. Out by the picnic tables. It was so fun being together and looking at the rug show and everything. But this was just really different, and I couldn't pass on it because I'd never seen anything like that before. So that was about the closest, that particular skein was about the closest blend I've seen to like a novelty yarn, like an eyelash and wool. Because it's basically like an eyelash, well, it's a wool blend, but an eyelash wool yarn. And I thought, all right, well, for that amount, I'm going to get that, and then I'm going to figure out later what I want to do with it. I'm going to show you this last bag, and then I'm going to show you some rugs. I'm keeping my eye on the time, too. Now, this is like one of my bags of shame. I have to admit, I'm not that ashamed. I probably should be. This is an entire bag of roving. What am I going to do with it? I have no idea right now. I did what I thought was a beautiful pattern last year. I forget what it was called. What was it called? It had a bunch of sheep. I think it had a dozen sheep in it, and it was a yard long, and it was skinny, and all the sheep were different colors of roving. Gosh, I forgot what it was called. I thought it was a great pattern. But anyway, this is a bag of roving from Omi Fibers. So these are mini, it's not roving, it's bat. I'm sorry, it's bat. So roving is more spun, right? More like cotton candy, right? It has more of a luster, more of a finish. There's some spinning that's already happened to it. This is the bat, right? So let me see if I can bring this into focus. You know, let me take it out of the bag. I put a little tape on them so they didn't come apart. I traveled with these in my suitcase because I bought a lot of stuff that day, but this was my favorite stuff. So it looks like this is what the bat, all of them look different, but you see all that crazy glitter in there, and you see little bits of confetti. And I mean, is this not incredibly delicious? I mean, I guess you have to be a fiber person. There were tons, and I bought almost all of them because I'm a jerk. But I mean, how can you pass on this stuff? They were each different. I bought the ones that I thought were the most Halloweeny. And you know what I'll probably do with them is start doing a series of learning drop spindle, right? Juliet was showing us in the picture that we did at Hartford when we were together taking down the show. But I think I'm going to get going with that because I don't do anything like that, right? I always do like end of the line finished product work. This is like, I would like to do the drop spindle stuff with this where you're just pulling, well, first I would put it on my blending board or whatever and roll it into the, I remember this from Juliet showing, the cannolis. I don't think that's the word for it. And then it's like an empty cord, like a finger trap, right? Like a finger trap that you get your finger stuck in and then you rip the trap because you're in such a panic. They look like those. And then people were like spinning them with the drop spindle. So then I'd be able to do a bunch of videos as I figure that out, right? Because you might know and say, oh, I got this. I don't need to watch those videos. But if you haven't done it yet, right, then we can figure it out together, and it would be a lot of fun. But all of these bats, this is Omi Fibers. Let me bring it in here. So it's it's OHMI. Maybe it's OMI, like OHMI. One word, fibers. And they have a great website too. But yeah, are you kidding me? So like, yeah, that whole bag is filled with them. Maybe without the glare, this works better. Maybe not. Isn't that funny how that's just not working anymore? OHMI, Omi Fibers. So these were $4.50 each, which seems like a super bargain. There were a lot of bats that were at a lower price point, but they didn't look like this. I bought those too. And I'm going to do different. I'm going to do blending with those. But these were the ones that for me were like, each one was different, and I'll take them out and take photos. A lot of them have the glitter and the specks in them, but it's literally a whole bag of great color combos, and it's all the Omi Fibers. So there's probably 30 or more in here. The purple. The monitor's very bad, but I'll figure out what to do, and we'll have some fun videos figuring that out. But I was so concerned about losing the Omi Fibers bats that and the woman was so nice, and her daughter, I think, who ran the stall. I liked them so much. I was so worried about it that I squeezed those into my suitcase. So they had like a wool mammogram getting into the suitcase and shutting the lid on them and all that. Because I love everything in the box, but that was the heart-stopping purchase for me. I think probably you're going to love the stuff in the box even more. But let's take one more peek at the Cream City Rug Show, and let's see some of the. Oh, what did I miss? Cannolis, Juliet. I can relate anything to food, right? Ryan says, love. Okay, wait a minute. Let me catch up. So Judy said, ooh, I love the colors. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, Ryan said his plan with the advent calendar not the advent calendar, the trick-or-treat bag you just snapped up, you'll be your second hooked piece using only mystery materials provided. I love that. It's a challenge. It's fun, and you're going to hit it out of the park again. And then Juliet said, you can also chain crochet and hook it to make it thicker. Oh, interesting. You can chain crochet it. See, that might be something too. So you just kind of pull a piece off like cotton candy, like you're going to eat it, but instead of eating it, you just pull it into like a long snaky piece, and you just start chaining it. I like that idea too. I really like that idea too. To make it thicker to hook with. That's really cool. And Judy says, ooh, those are my colors. Oh, right? Everything, I'm going to have to lay them all out and just take like a photo of the whole thing. It'll be like hooker puncher porn, right? Just like this incredible display of all of this colored bat with glitter and confetti stuck to it. Really fun. And Judy says, Juliet, or you could chain ply by making big loops with your fingers, kind of like spinners to create 3-ply yarn. Ooh, I'm lost on that one, Judy. I'm going to have to look that one up. Hey, also, if you are in the Facebook group, you are also very welcome to post videos in the Facebook group, right? If you are here on a Friday night watching a show about fiber with me, I know that you're the kind of person who posts appropriate videos. You are all welcome to show off your expertise, and it's not like it's a one-horse show, right? You don't even have to wait for Monday for something like that. If you've got a great technique that we're talking about and you're comfortable, feel free to do videos and stuff like that, because I'm going to watch them too, right? I don't have to be the queen bee. It's not just my videos. They can, oops, wrong window. Oh no, that might be the right window. Actually, no, this was. I still have Simple Simon the Pieman from like 2 months ago in the slideshow. I've got to get that whole show deleted. Cannolis, perfect description. They're called Rolags. Yep. I know that word. I would have never thought of it. Thank you. So you got to say it another 100 times, and then it's going to stick, because it doesn't remind me of anything, that word. It's really hard to remember. I wonder if it's like logs, isn't it? It's like roll logs, but it's got an A. I'm going to have to keep practicing that. We were talking about using multiple strands of thinner yarn to hook. Oh, I see. Of the thinner yarn, not the bat. Gotcha. 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 Okay. Sorry. I was out of sequence. That was me being a ding dong. That makes a lot more sense. Chain ply combo is for the thinner yarns. Okay, I'm so sorry. Of course, the thinner yarns. That makes a lot more sense. That's a great idea too. It would give you amazing texture. I have not done that yet. Wool mammogram. Well, the suitcase, $200 is a lot if you go over. So, and I figured that whole bag of however many bats that is, it weighed nothing. It was like a feather. But is the Facebook group open for everyone? Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. Rug Cooking and Punch Needle Club. It's the biggest rug group in this country for the Facebook group, unless somebody snuck up behind me. But last time I looked, we're almost at 16,000 people right now. And the mood on the group, I'm always very happy to brag, is super supportive, forthcoming, friendly, super friendly, inspirational. Right? It's not, I would never mention any other specific group, and I'm not even thinking of one. But sometimes I feel like the tone is a bit snarky and maybe a little passive aggressive sometimes. I have not looked at the group a lot lately while I've been traveling, but when I look at the group, I'm so pleased with the way things are going in the comments. I do see the comments before they're posted. So if Kirsten doesn't catch them and she leaves them for me to do like the final decision on, they're always nice, and I'm always so happy that this group exists for beginners, but just as a second home that you can come to and show your stuff and know that other people are going to give you great feedback, right, and really encourage you, and it's a very, very friendly group. So I just have to tell you something silly before we look at the rugs, because there's not a ton of rugs, but I want to look at them in detail. Funniest thing happened today when I picked up Teddy from school. I pick up Teddy because he's across town and I'm fighting for him to leave that school and be able to be in our regular school. He's autistic. I pick him up and he's getting into the car. I just looked at my Truly a can and it reminded me of it. I see this flash of metal down the front of his person. His look this year is like Hawaiian shirts, right? He wears short sleeve Hawaiian shirts, super loud, with his shorts. This is what he's into. So these button up Hawaiian shirts. And he gets in the car and I see this flash of silver as he gets in the car. And I look at him and I'm like, what's going on with, and instead of buttons, every single one of his buttons was gone. And there was a perfectly placed, like surgically perfect safety pin at every buttonhole. And I said, Teddy, what happened? And he said he was on the swings and he did this like great exit from the swing with a flourish. He's holding the swing and he goes really high and he jumps off the swing, and when he did, his shirt ripped open and every button popped off. And I can just imagine how stressed the teacher was, because it was like, whoa, and he said he didn't notice it at first, right? This is so typical of Teddy. But the teacher was, whoa, 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 because he's like a big boy and he's got, we're working on dieting and all that stuff, but it's a lot to look at. It's just like very handsome boy. But it's good to be covered up at school, you know what I mean? So she took him in and she placed all these pins perfectly, and I could just imagine how stressed she was because all of the buttons popped off and must have just like flown into orbit. But God, it was funny when he got in the car. It was so funny. I started laughing so hard, and then he started laughing too. I don't think that they laughed about it at school, so it was like he was trying to judge from my reaction whether it was funny. And I was like, oh yeah, no, that was funny. It was really funny. Poor old Ted, right, Linda? Poor old Ted. He is too sweet. Now, this is the rug that we ended on at the Cream City show at the Wisconsin Sheep and Wool Fiber Festival this past weekend, right? Last weekend. And we ended on this one with a conversation about how cool it is to really do a paisley with, a more contemporary fill, right? You don't have to do those Far Eastern fills that are super elaborate and detailed. You can do folky hearts and lamb's tongues and things like that. So that was the conversation we ended with, looking at this show on Wednesday, the first day I was back. This is that is a visual, isn't it? This is a beautiful piece. This was really interesting too. I love these personal pieces, these storytelling pieces. A walk in Walnut Park, Batavia, Illinois. And I'm going to stretch this out for you so you can see just what this is. Obviously, it's a runner, but let me make it a little bit larger. It really is a personal piece and a fun piece. So you can take a look at the different, it almost looks like a road sign, right? We expanded our family. We traveled great distances. We hung out with Wunder. You moved in, right? This is like a timeline of somebody's life. And I just thought, wow, what a sweet project. And I mean, what an important project too, right? It's like a diary, right? It's a personal piece of storytelling done in rug form. I blurted out, "I love you," on August 1st, 2012. Oh, isn't it great? I mean, I feel like I'm peeking into someone's diary. We went on dates, and then there's a heart with a no love across it. This movie sucks. We met at a movie theater. We got engaged. Heidi and Ben. Oh, you start at the bottom. You start at the bottom. I see, and then you work your way up as you approach it from the bottom. That makes sense. So that starting with the first date of Heidi and Ben, all the way, you moved in, we expanded our family. See, isn't that fantastic? That's a bit of a tearjerker. I don't know. It's just so sweet. It's so sweet. I thought that was an absolutely beautiful rug, a showstopper. Another beautiful rug. I really loved this one. Really, really whimsical. Couple looking at a sunset. Again, I said this on Wednesday. There were not placards or any kind of notation made that would tell you who the hooker was, who the pattern was. This pattern to me looks like Bev Conway. Isn't that her name, Conway? Bev Conway? I think so. I've met her and she was super, super nice, but that was years ago. It seems like one of her pieces. I might be wrong, but I don't know otherwise because of the absence of the markings. But it's a beautiful rug. What I love about this rug, I love the way the water looks. I love the colors. I love the ball. I just love the playfulness of this piece. What I really love about this piece, and I think the problem in hooking the hat, the woman's hat particularly, is fantastic. I think the problem in hooking this piece would be that we are looking at a composition. It's like you're breaking the fourth wall. We're actually looking at people who are looking at something else. And the fact that they're looking at something else in terms of composition steers us and directs us to what they're looking at. So we're no longer looking at them, we're looking past them at what they're looking at. And what they're looking at is so spectacular that they've actually stopped, like just stopped what they were doing, and they're just standing there staring at it. And it's this the beautiful sunset, I think. So this is probably something tricky to approach, because when you're approaching it, you're probably thinking, how I've got to make the sunset really something special, right? Because these two people stopped to look at it, right? So it's got to be like amazing. How can I make a really amazing sunset? So I think that would be the kind of built-in problem in approaching this exact pattern. But the maker of this pattern, and again, I don't know who the maker is, did a fantastic job with the sky. It is whimsical. It's a bit fantasy, right? All of the rays. It's great patterning happening in the sky, but it is fantastical and fantastic. It's very, very whimsical, and it has to be, right? Because it has to be a showstopper. It has to be over the top. But I thought another really, really lovely rug. God, this one as well. I don't know anything about this rug. I love it. It looks like a origami, doesn't it? It looks like a little origami choir girl or little angel kind of character. Probably choir girl. With other, this maybe is an original pattern. If it is, it makes me want to know more about it even more. But I love that the continuation of the origami feel is brought into the dove and then the two butterflies. And then there seems to be a signature at the bottom. Right, Kaz? Did you see this one at the fair, at the festival, at the show? There we go. It's absolutely beautiful. There is some subtle color changing in the blue background that I really love. Hold on one second. I'm sweating. I've got my skirt up in a knot around my waist, and I'm still sweating. Can you open the window in here? It's so hot. Um, I just love this piece. And I think one of the things that makes me really love this piece, I love the origami, I love the colors, I love the expression on the face. I love the window open, super, super crazy hot. I love the shadow. I love the detail at the bottom of the frock. I love the sort of ruffling or gathering right of the costume right under the yoke of the bodice. It's just a beautiful, beautiful design. I love the squareness of the head and the way that's echoed in the signature. I love that it's outlined in brown, right, and not black. But what I really love about it is the idea. Oh, you saw it at Solder. Oh, great. Um, I really love the idea because it is really something to be looking at a textile that is modeled after a different craft, right? Origami obviously is a paper craft. So it's almost like we're looking at two things at once or a tribute to one. It's tricky when you do this stuff, right? But we do have a pretty successful rate of interpreting other crafts in rug hooking. For example, we see a lot of quilt designs in rug hooking. But I have to say, I have never seen an origami design in rug hooking. And if I have, I forgot. So that's not good either, is it? Right? This one I could never forget. This is so memorable and so extraordinary. Just a beautiful piece. This is a beautiful wool applique piece. Really lovely. It's got some quillies in this witch's hat. It's a bit of a motley witch's hat, a lot of patchwork. Looks like there's a few crazy quilt stitches present there. The turkey, I see the turkey foot stitch. I see some daisy stitching on the greenery around the stump, right? I see the pumpkin itself is a beautiful kind of mottled orange. Just a beautiful composition. The decoration on the hat doesn't need to be there, but it is very pretty. It continues the Halloween colors. It's just a great piece. It's just a very fun piece. Lots of lovely stitching, and it was a nice treat to see a piece that was not rug hooking in the rug show, right? Because making that opening up, right, the doors and windows to other textiles, I think, is important for us. We need crossover crafts to be present because we are very small as a community. I think it's very important to welcome and encourage crossover crafts, right? Other crafts that you can do with wool, particularly, basically interchangeable, right? Who cares? It's all the same, right? Isn't it? All inspiring. I love that hat. And this is a braided piece, right? So this is a real showstopper. Beautiful cobweb design, braided center, right? And then some fairly tricky. What word am I trying to say? They it's just braids going around, and then they are like pulling the braids from the center with those black strips. I think that's what's happening anyway. And it's just kind of not, well, maybe stretching. Maybe stretching is an okay word, but it is changing the shape of the rug. And because it's wool, right, it can be manipulated in an incredible way. If you're heating wool and you're doing stuff to it to reshape it, like pulling at it, right? This is what hatters do with the wooden hat blocks, just pulling felt on top of it, wetting it, spraying it, blocking it with incredible heat, right? And the wool stays like that forever. You can, even if you sit on your hat or if it gets under the suitcase or it's in the bottom of the closet for too many years, you can bring your wool hat to a hatter, if you can find one, and have them reblock your hat, right? And then they'll take out the hat block that's your head shape and they'll just fix it and it'll be good as new, like you bought it yesterday. Well, you can do the same thing with more with braided rugs than hooked rugs, right? Because braided rugs don't have backings. Hooked rugs do, right? So because the hooked rug has a backing, that's something to be conscious of. You can't, it doesn't have unlimited stretch because it's on backing. But a braided rug has more possibilities in that regard because when you heat it and you manipulate it, you can also change the shape of a braided rug, obviously by adding a stitch here, adding a stitch there. And it could be that she didn't do a lot of pulling and blocking with this. I don't know. It could be that on that first black border outside of that orange circle, that she added a turn, right, at the top of each where the points are, right? It could be that that's what she did. It's very hard to tell. Let me see if I can stretch it a little bit. Maybe I can tell. Let's see. Sorry, I don't know why my camera takes such long photos. Oh, let's see. Um, you know, it's hard to tell. I think she did. I don't know. What do you all think? I can see that the black band is wrapped around starting at those points. Doesn't really matter. I mean, it's super, super effective. I'm just curious. If I'm looking at the first orange and yellow ring, it looks like a straight up braid, right? That has been laced onto the row before. Um, but it looks more manipulated to me than there are extra stitches. I could be wrong. I don't know. It would make sense if in that first black ring, I'm just working through this in my head. It does look like candy corn, doesn't it? It could be that she did add a little turn, or that she just butted it up against itself really, really firmly, and it created a little kind of nubbin at the top that could then be exaggerated with the wool strips, right? That are kind of lacing through it like a Jacob's ladder. Beautiful piece, really beautiful piece. And I think the only braided piece that I saw, at least the only all braided piece. Another beautiful piece. Again, no placards, but I think this is Michelle Palmer, um, the designer. I can't be positive, but I think it is. Beautiful winter composition. Love the faces, the characters, the poses. Love the different scarves. Love the variety of the garlands, right? The different berries and little blossoms. I mean, it's just, and the cardinal sitting on the head of the middle. I mean, it's just so sweet and whimsical. I just love this piece. It's a very, very cheerful piece. And another nice winter piece. I think these were placed together because I can see the snowman right under it. Michelle Palmer. Um, Colleen, did I say Michelle Palmer or did I say something else? Now I'm confused because I feel like when I read that, it didn't click like I had just said it. Did I say the wrong name? And if so, it's definitely Michelle Palmer. Man, my memory. Here, let me have another drink. I'm going to see if I can fix this. Mm. Blueberry, truly, man, not bad. So it's nice to have the seasonal ones together, right? Because you get a little bit festive on this end of the show. This is another beautiful design. I don't have any guesses as to who this is, but I do, and it could be an original pattern for all I know. I do love the stockings. I love the fact that they're really socks, right? Super, super cute. You know, this could also be Michelle Palmer because there's another cardinal. You know what? I bet it is. That would make sense, doesn't it? Because it seems to go with the one under it, doesn't it? Even the blue is similar. Interesting. I think it probably is. I'm just guessing, right? Can't be sure, but I think it probably is. Really, really cute. Lots of color opportunities here. Funny joke with the clothespins on top. Nice three-dimensional sort of bling to it. And I love the very simple border, right? It's so nice to combine these sort of simple. Michelle Palmer does such good seasonal designs for every season. And it is nice to see a beautiful pattern like this inside a very primitive frame that still works really well. It looks like little holly berries or something like this. But love the star heel on the toe of the orange stocking. I do too. That is a bit festive, Judy, isn't it? And then the little fair isle with the little snowflakes. It's very, very sweet. I mean, this could be so personalized depending on the member, the size of your family, the style of the family. I remember not last year, but the year before, my sister gave everybody for Christmas in our stockings socks that she had printed somewhere that were photographs of our dog, Buttons the dog. He's a Yorkie. And they were all different. She used a different photograph for each of us. But, the whole family had these, and it was just a repeat of his face on like a colored background. And, it looked extra funny with his face cut out. But really, really cute. That would be hard to do hooking. But some people are a bit fussy and persnickety about their socks. And this would be a great joke if you had people, in the family who routinely wear like ripped socks or socks with holes in the heels or something like that. It'd be kind of funny. Not good for collecting stocking presents, right, from Santa, but quite funny for a rug. I think these are all on the same display board, but I'm not. Again, I don't know this. This I'm less sure of. I'm pretty sure the other two are Michelle Palmer, but this one I'm not sure. It is a lovely, whimsical, wintry design. It might be again Michelle. I just don't know. I'm looking at the font, and it does look like her font, so it might be. It might be. It definitely, it does look like her font for sure, but I don't know. I love the mid-century modern snowflake. I love the little bit of snow coming down. It is unexpected to see kind of a khaki background on a winter piece, but I really love it. It's very traditional. It's a more austere color, right? It's not as literal, but it does create a flat background upon which you can create kind of a sampler of things. And this pattern is a sampler. It's got the snowman, it's got the candy cane, the star, the holly branch, snowflake, the stocking, right? It's got a whole collection of things to do with winter, and it also has the word winter. So very, very sweet. I'm wondering if don't know if I took, let me see if I took a picture of this next one or if we should. No, let me look at it here. I'm sorry about that. I might have it in a later slide. But another beautiful Christmas time piece. It's tipped a little bit because it looks like it's supposed to be like a what traffic sign is a square but tipped. Now I'm thinking, what is that? Is that like a yield? You know, I'm thinking about the orientation because it's a little tipped a little bit to the right here. It's supposed to be kind of a diagonal square top to bottom, you know what I mean? And it says Merry Christmas in the green letters. It's that beautiful bayberry green. This has got to be a plaid background, an old shirt or something that's cut up, that's doing the blue and the red, really unpredictable patterning. Very, very pretty background. Very, very seasonal, very festive, and these lovely big poinsettias, I think they're poinsettias, beautiful proddy petals coming up out of the flowers. Very simple, but a great seasonal piece. That's going to drive me crazy. Most signs are that shape, other than a stop sign, right? Most signs are like a square that's been tipped on the side. Man, isn't that funny when you're really thinking about something like that, something you see 100 times a day? I know this is a David Galshu design, and I don't know what this one is called, but this is certainly one of his pieces. This is absolutely brilliant. I'll stretch it out a little bit for you so you can see it better. Very recognizable style as an artist. Oh, Ryan, I'll see you soon, my love. Happy weekend. I'm going to stretch this out just a little bit. Let's see. A little bit more, because I want to really look. Gosh, that's gorgeous, isn't it? Look at the color in these birds. And it looks okay. I'm getting it. So the face, the sun, right? Signature Galshu, or I know I say Galshu, and I know that's not the right way to say it, and then I can't think of the right way because now I've said it the wrong way twice. Um, it's a bird's nest, isn't it? It's a bird's nest with the sun coming out of it. So that is really clever, right? That is really clever. And of course, the birds are gathered around it because they need both the sun and a home. Could get very allegorical with stuff like this. But again, just a beautiful piece. It almost looks a little bit Native American with the feathers coming out of the head like that. You know what I mean? It reminds me of like a dream catcher kind of thing, but also feathers for the birds, right? So there's a lot of layers here. There's a lot of layers, I think, that are open for interpretation. And the fun of a piece like this that does have multiples, right? It's functioning as a piece with multiples. It still has a lot of storytelling leeway. So I think when you look at a Galshu, whether it's a rug cooking pattern or a painting, right? Whatever you're looking at, I think there's a lot of room for interpretation, and it probably speaks to you most when there is some element of the design that strikes you, that resonates, right, with you personally. And then you get to do if you buy the pattern and you're working on it, you get to do the storytelling in your head. You know what it means to you. So there's lots happening here. There's lots. There's a little secondary nest under the top nest. It's just a beautiful piece. I love the color choices too. I love there's just a little bit of blue in the sky. I love the face, right? The face is so ornate. It's wild. I love all the dark orange rays. It's almost like brutalist art, right? Coming out from behind the nest. The feathers are over the top. The birds are over the top. The amount and the quantity of birds, the amount of color in the birds. I really like this is such a stupid thing, like out of all the things that we're looking at that are like astonishing, I really like the green border around the edge. I don't know what it is about. It's the unpredictability. I don't know if this is something color changing or if the black has just been put in at intervals, but for some reason the instability of the way that outer border is functioning, for me, works really well because the motif, right, the sun with surrounded by all the birds, is so complicated and it's so bold, right? It's so fantastic, and in a literal sense. When you get to that border, you expect to see lots and lots of very planned details, right? Like the center is planned, but the border with the green and the black seems not planned, and that's what I like about it. It balances out what had to be a lot of heavy planning on the interior of the piece. And then that second bar in the border of like the teal with the maybe sky blue or robin's egg blue alternating, a little bit of a Mackenzie Childs feel to it on the border, you know what I mean? Just the different color shifts and the patterning. Absolutely love it. But it is these little touches. You know, sometimes when you're looking at a composition, um, if you're not a big composition person, you don't overthink it the way that I maybe overthink it. I definitely overthink it. Maybe these things don't jump out, but it is always fun for me when I'm looking at something and I go, God, there's so much to look at, and yet I keep going to that green border. Well, it's the anomaly, right? It's the thing that doesn't fit. Everything else is super, super planned down to the T, right? And then you get to that border, and it's very unpredictable. And that balance is just, it's exciting, right? It just amps up the exciting. It's an exquisite piece. It's just exquisite. You know, I never hear a lot of people saying, oh, I don't like David Galchu's style. I mean, it seems like everybody loves him, and I love him too. It's so, he reminds me of that artist in maybe the 80s, 90s. I think his name was Kit Williams. He wrote that book Masquerade, and I think he wrote a book after it. This was like the era of like what was it, Griffin and Sabine. I don't remember who that writer was, but it was that era, and I think his name was Kit Williams. He did a lot of stuff that is in this kind of vein, super decorative fantasy, right? So it's like its own genre. There's not a lot of people who work in this genre, and it's extremely detailed, and that's what makes me think of Kit Williams too. Because the book Masquerade, I don't remember when it came out. I think I was in high school, so it was a long time ago, but you know, it was like a puzzle. Like it was, you had to read it and figure things out, and it was some kind of a contest too. Like you had to turn in your answer or whatever by a certain date and be the first one to get it. And there was a prize of some sort. I don't remember the details, but it was exciting. And I was of an age where I couldn't solve the puzzle on the first page. You know what I mean? And there's like another 50 pages, so it was pretty hopeless. Juliet says, but the border picks up some of the greens and the birds and the sun. Yep. It definitely does. I mean, there's pretty much every color inside this piece. There's very few colors that are left out, and he seems to be color planning each bird so fully and extensively that it's like almost like the palette of a bird could be the palette of a whole piece, right? Each bird is its own universe of color. Really, really, really extraordinary, and as you can imagine, a showstopper. I'm going to take a quick sip. Gotta say, I love this piece just as much because I'm a big pig for primitive, right? I love primitive, and this has that kind of fracture quality, that pen Dutch quality. Look at this little shaggy tail. I'm just taking a quick sip. Mm-hmm. Um, I just love this. I love the silly way that the little rabbit is like looking up, like, did I do that? And then the shaggy tail and like these different kinds of hex, that sort of hex motif, the circle, and then all the pen Dutch tulips, right? And a little bit of shade, right? This is a great way to do grass, right? I forget about this device where you put like a little pond of shade or color, so that the character is not floating, but you also don't have a horizon line, right? You're not like ruled by a horizon line, which gives you perspective and gives you a vanishing point. It's just a plop or a puddle of color that functions as a base, right? Just like statues function on a base, right? And they can be put anywhere. I just love this piece. It's very different than the last one we saw. It's very, very primitive. It's probably a number 8 cut. It's great, simple, clean design. It's got great color palette. It's got incredible character. It's beautifully done. I just love this piece. This was one of my favorite pieces in the show. I love the little tail too. I love the mixed print, right? It's probably like a herringbone or some very small print of the rabbit, his chest and his nose is a slightly different color than the rest of the little body. The back leg, right? There's some thoughtful color changing happening here. The placement of the eyes strikes me as very funny too, right? It seems a bit bewildered, right? A little bit surprised, or you do your own storytelling, right? We should all look at it, interpret it a little bit differently. I love that there's several bars of color at the top, right? I love that there's a top border because I think sometimes as rug hookers we get kind of constipated in a weird way with designing, and we tend to think we have got to have either a border four ways around or the two sides right and left, right? And you hardly ever think about this very classic sort of fracture technique of having one border and having it be on the top, right? This is more the kind of thing that you'd see in a book plate, right, on like an early 20th century book kind of thing. But you hardly ever see north-south borders without, all four sides. But you hardly ever see just the north border. So that's really interesting because sometimes you see a border at the bottom with like a name or some text in it. Very unusual. It's very, very simple. And remember how hard it is to do things that are simple. So I was very drawn to this piece because it was really a complete home run, a primitive home run. I think we only have 2 slides left, incredibly. You know what? It might be that I have more that I didn't load. Oh, I think I'm a ding-dong. I don't think I loaded the rest. I think I forgot. Well, that's okay. I have to open the box anyway. We can look at the rest of them on Monday and then see what else we're going to get up to. I'm going to stretch. Do I want to stretch? No, let's look at them separately. So let's look at the top one first. Hang on. Let's make this one large and then we'll see Rooster. See, now this one, I wonder if this is the same designer because remember what I literally just said, you hardly ever see compositions where you get the north-south border. And nothing else. It's very, very unusual. And yet we're looking at another one. It's another primitive design. It might be the same designer. If you know who any of these designers are, please shout out because I'm so curious. But another beautiful, this looks like a summer scene, doesn't it? I was trying to get a feel for whether it was seasonal or not. It's functioning as a bit of a sampler. It might be seasonal because it might be that the bluebird in the tree represents spring, right? The tree is quite bare. And then we might spring, summer. I'm working it out. You work it out with me too. The flowers for me could be spring or summer. The whole thing could be spring, summer. The bees, that's summer, right? That's uniquely summer. And more beautiful flowers, a swag of flowers, and then the flag, which brings me to summer or July specifically. And then there's a little inset at the top right with what looks like a little a house, like a tall house. And that is as an inset, it's functioning as like a this is a sampler, isn't it? Because when I look at the beehive, that's kind of blocked off. And then there's some decorative motifs down at the bottom right, the circle with what look like 2 leaf patterns, also blocked off. Judy says, I really like how the tree makes an irregular edge to some of the compartments. Silo. Oh, interesting. I bet it is a silo. It is very tall and skinny. It's either a silo or it's one of the classic Prim houses that looks like it's stretched. Could be either one. Silo definitely works. It depends on if those are 2 chimneys, I guess. I like that too, Judy. I like the way that it's very irregular. I'm not a big fan of matchy, so it really strikes me as successful when the tree is quite irregular, and yet it is still managing to be a heavy placeholder for all of these other elements that are kind of dancing around it. It is really pretty. I mean, me being me, I think I would be tempted to draw the tree branches out to the edges. And maybe that's a mistake to always be thinking like that. I'm always thinking about dividing the background, This designer wasn't thinking about that. They were more occupied with the project of putting all these various elements into one composition. And that is a feat, isn't it? And I like the stars at the top, but I really love the pinwheel quilt pattern, the blocks at the bottom. It is really a sweet piece, isn't it? It's a sweet piece that you could keep it up obviously all year round, but it is a nice spring summer piece too. It makes me wonder if there's like others in the series that like almost like quilt blocks that you could complete to accompany it, right? Because it seems to be part of a story, but we seem to be missing fall and winter here at least. But another beautiful, really beautiful piece. And hang on. Oh, wait a minute. We were going to look at, let's come over here. I think I was a ding dong, and I think I had more photos to load on Wednesday, but I got so busy with trying to get some orders out that I forgot to load the rest today. Sorry about that. Or yesterday. This is another sort of Chanticleer kind of a thing. I wish I knew who the designers were and the makers. These are so extraordinary. I love this composition. You know, I often come across, whether it's in antique stores or wherever, compositions that have like a single animal on them. And typically when I see something like this, I think very, very simple, not a lot of meat on the bone for me. But I'm wrong. I'm very wrong. I love it when I'm wrong. This is such a well done, this is a rooster, right? This is a rooster. He's astonishingly great. The amount of color change, the attitude, right? The posture, very, very, very sure of himself. Cocksure is a word, isn't it? That is a word that we still use. That's probably the reason. Very, very proud. Lot of personality. This is a conversation we had right before I left for Wisconsin. It's sometimes it is its own art trying to infuse animals. I think particularly birds and sea animals. Yeah, Linda, a lot of attitude with personality. It can be difficult. It's on a par with doing faces, right, and shading it. It's on a par because every little line, every little mark, every little color change changes the overall look, right? And if you're talking about an animal that is the focal point, right? The sunset is beautiful, but the sunset is extraordinarily beautiful. It's exquisite. And I love the grass the way it is. I love the levels, right? We talk about levels a lot. Green, yellow, pink, white, blue. These are the levels. We have got a series of levels that function as the entire background and then one motif. And it is this extraordinary bird. So interesting. And just another reminder that, you know, simple is hard. You can do extraordinary work with very, very simple patterns, right? Because for me, being someone who always overdoes it, I'd be so tempted to add borders, to add a red barn in the background, to add really puffy clouds in the sky, maybe add text. And this is just so striking the way that it is. I wish, again, I wish I knew who did it. The sky is incredible. You know, just the progression of colors, because they are all the same tonal value, right? We're not talking about a bright blue sky, blue skies. We're not talking about that. It's like all the same value, right? It's the same kind of light, sort of pastel-y quality to the yellow, to the pink, to the blue, to the white. So in that regard, it is has a lot of continuity in the background. It's a very strong background, even though it's understated and very pastel. So really, really exceptional piece, and it makes such a great background on which to pose this jewel-colored rooster, right? The teal, the brown, the reds, the oranges. It's just extraordinary. And I like how the legs are the yellow, the same kind of yellow as the sunset, but they're outlined. And even those little black nails, right? It's all working. All pistons are firing here. This is absolutely fantastic. That little eye, right? That little patronizing eye that looks at you like you're nothing, right? That little eye in these birds is always so expressive, right? In a way it's blank, in another way it's taking in everything, right? When a bird looks at you, like a rooster looks at you, it's a bit unsettling, isn't it, with these little beady eyes. But the eye is so well done, just that little pinprick in the center, little round eye. It's really, really super expressive. One more in this series, and then we are going to unbox. And we'll have to look at the rest next time because I'm stupid. This isn't even another one in the series because you've seen this before. This is when I was struggling at the yarn store with Kaz. Kaz, I had one more thing in my bag. Good thing I pulled that picture up. Because Kaz took me to this great yarn store. We were talking about this on Wednesday's episode, and I honestly could not decide what yarn to get. And I ended up getting those yellows, right, that I showed you in the Wednesday episode. But I also got this that I want to show you too. I haven't used this yet. I'm going to hook with it. Kaz, that was Icon Fibers in Green Bay. I can't believe I'm asking that again. It was just the day before yesterday. Pamela, it's great to see you. It's iced tea for you in Liberty, South Carolina. Happy Friday night. It's good to see you. This is Louisa Harding. Um, the yarns are called, I think, Larico. And I'm going to show you the label just in case. Oh, it kind of came into focus. Maybe I just need to be back here. I'm going to show you the yarn closer up. It really is something. So it's a series of yarn. And again, it's called Larico, Lirico, Louise Harding. And it looks like this. I'm definitely going to take the time to bring this into focus. Do you see that? Is that crazy or what? There were probably, I would say, 8 to 10 different color schemes for this yarn. And it is a lot of color changes. I mean, isn't that, it's like a thin ribbon, right? So it is like a novelty kind of a ribbon to hook with. I could see hooking loose with this. I could see hooking a dress, like a witch's dress with this. This is probably what I'm going to do. But it is very, very thin. I'm thinking one of the next questions might be, could I punch with it? I think you can punch with it. It might be that you need to double it up. It's always hard to know beforehand whether, different types of yarn, and this is a ribbon, whether it's going to get stuck in the shaft of the needle. You don't know until you try. Never win. But you see how there's all these little bits of color on here. Like it's like this tomato red or red kind of orange. And I thought, yeah, I've got to get that. There was a whole bunch. These were, I think, 18 each. So this is color number 108. It's called La Traviata. And it is 50% cotton, 28% acrylic, and 22% polyamide. Yeah. And I'm looking for 262 yards. That's what I'm looking for. So very different. It's got all the info for whether you crochet or hook or whatever. But I mean, I just thought that's just extraordinary. Just extraordinary. So I don't have a vision for that yet, but I think I am, and I think I was leaning toward like a witch's costume, because it does have, it's not like all pretty like satin ribbon, like all like ironed and perfect. It has a bit of a like ruffled feel to it. It has a bit of like a messy look to it, and the colors are a little bit, if not spooky, well, they're spooky. They're a little bit, they're like blacks, grays, purples, and then this bright red, like slasher red. I'm getting the box on the chair for us. Really unusual, but there were lots of color families. And one thing they all had in common were they were all colorful. Speaking of slashing, but I won't fool around with a box cutter, right? That's all we need while we're live. And be very careful with this too, because we bring you down here for a second. Let's see what we got in here. Now, this is the box. This is the box that I sent on Tuesday, right before I left. Me and Kaz went over to UPS. And, I can't remember how much it weighs. It's not a ton. It's probably, maybe 8-10 pounds, something like that. It was $38 to ship to Connecticut. And it got here, I sent it Tuesday afternoon, and it got here Thursday morning. Amazing. So let's remember what I got over there. And I didn't put this stuff in the box because I liked it less. I put it in the box because I really didn't have room for anything to go in the box except the clothing and the bat. That was it. Because I was super scared. I'm not going to fool with this anymore. I'm going to leave it just like that. I feel like Sweeney Todd right now. I was super scared to go over the limit when I figured out how much it would cost. So, because it obviously, I would have still been very happy to have all my stuff, but it is sad when you spend too much. Kaz, I'm going to bring these home to the kids. Kaz got them each some candy and some, what's it called? Sarugi's chocolates. Is it Sarugi's chocolates? The big finished chocolates. And we had other treasures for them. Kaz sent some beautiful treasures for them. So they were out of their minds when I returned super early on Wednesday morning to drive them to school. They went out of their minds. Yes, this is it. Sarugi's chocolates. Best chocolate in the world. in the world. I, I can't even describe it. It's not like anything I've ever had. It's a little bit like that Cadbury's Aero, what's it called? Aero something. It's a bit like um, not nougaty. What's the word? Um, when it has like all the little air bubbles in it, like malty, a little bit malty, but it's not. It's super. It's not like anything. God, it's so good. If you can order it, order it. If you like chocolate and you haven't had this and it's online and you can order it, which I bet it is. It's from De Pere, Wisconsin. If you can see that. God, it's not like anything I've ever had before. Kaz, why did I put this in the box and not in my mouth? I was so hungry at the airport. And don't get upset because she was like, I want to make sandwiches. There was no time for any of that. I was supposed to put this in my bag, and I put it in the box because I'm a ding dong. So I know what I'm eating in the car on the way home. You can order online. It was fantastic. Juliet says, I love hooking with the glitzy ribbon. So you're going to love Louisa Harding. This was, I think, the only yarn in that store of Louisa Harding's. So I haven't taken a great survey of what she does yet, but that completely blew me away. Colleen, it is so delish. It is insane. I even packed like my frame. I was so scared about weight. And my rug hooking project that I worked on the way there, the witch I showed you on Wednesday, outgrew this frame like quickly because my flight got canceled and then I had to go the next day. So I was hooking it when I was at my mom's house that night. Not ideal. Okay. So I'm being see. This is not stuff that you need to see. It's my Arctic air machine to blow my menopause face while I'm sleeping, and it does white noise, right? So it's like the magic effect, the thing that makes me sleep. This is not something rug hooking, but I'm so nerdy, right? I always get like sweatshirts and I wear them while I'm in the place still, just because I was chilly and stuff. Door County, Wisconsin, and it's surrounded by a whole bunch of the towns that we went to. Um, Washington Island, that's the one that we did in. We went to Gills Rock, Ellison. We went to Ellison Bay, right? Ellison Bay, is that where? No, that's not where the gallery was. Sister Bay, Ephraim, that's where the gallery was. Fish Creek. Um, it doesn't have Egg Harbor. We also went to Egg Harbor and we went to Sturgeon Bay, but it has most of them and it's pink, so I really love it. That was a good one. And Carol gave me this. Carol, I don't know why that was. I could have easily put the magnet with my book into the suitcase, but the yurt was in Ellison Bay. Okay, we did go there too. So let's see. Oh, I have this lovely thing that Ruth made, right? Ruth made some treasures, and I picked this one, Halloween cat. Well, Ruth, you know where this is going. It's going into the Halloween vignette immediately. I'll fix it later so everything is positioned better, but I love my cat. And what else did I get? All right, let's get down to it. So, Gail gave me this, right? Gail gave me this beautiful yarn. I see these and I've never had one. I have one that's all like black and white, but I've never seen one that's these kinds of colors. This is hand spun yarn by Virginia M. Thomas. This is a color called Cathedral. Oh, I super love that. Organic. I can't read the next word. It's handwritten. How cool is that? It's like a cool label like this, right? And it's 183 yards, so that's a lot. But it's very pretty, colorful, and ropey, right? So I can see punching this with a regular or hooking with it. It's a good weight to hook with. Even doubling it would be a good weight. But isn't it pretty? Very, very cool colors. Very unexpected. That was exciting. I love getting treasures like that. Let's see what this is. I think I know, but let's see. I've got something big sticking out of there. I'm going to show you that next because I know a lot of people were asking about that. It showed in the photo. I loved all the comments I got on my photos on my personal Facebook page because, I have such a thing often with depression and just going off the rails in a spectacular way. And so many of my friends said, I haven't seen you smile like that for such a long time. And I thought, you're right. It was such a good trip. I had such a good time. I felt so happy and light and reset, which is just what I needed because I think I was headed for another crazy breakdown. Getting those 2 books out was a lot. So let's see what this is. Oh, you know what? This is more, it's more bats. I went crazy with bats. Okay, I forgot about that. And these are beautiful bats too, right? So Yeah, I love these bats too, even though I shipped them. These are from, these are larger, Sherwood Forest Farm. Sherwood Forest Farm. And these are lovely. Let me get one out for you at least. I got one, two, oh, I got a bunch. I got four. I remember this stall. I was at this stall with Robin. Yeah, let me show you these. These are, we have time. These are really, really pretty. Of course, my nighttime colors with my big ring light and all that are not great. But I will photograph this stuff and show you. And certainly when I work it into projects, you know, you'll see it then too. Um, Let me just put that in there. Let me take it out. Because through the plastic, you're never going to get a feel for how beautiful it is. Isn't that beautiful? Oh my God, it's so soft too. Absolutely gorgeous. So this is bat, and it's kind of spun around, right? But you see all the pretty confetti. I mean, it almost looks like, you know, when you put sweaters in the dryer, and then I don't even, our machine doesn't have a filter. Remember the filters used to pull out? Maybe they still have them in some machines, but I loved that filter thing that you pulled out that was like a bug screen, and you could roll stuff down it, right? That's maybe what got me. You never know what got you into the fiber arts in the first place, right? That definitely could have contributed. So that was a beautiful bat. It's called Alpine Meadows. I like to know the names of them sometimes because it helps me decide that I need them. You know, if it's a super romantic name. I won't show you all. I don't know if I'll show you all. There's only four of these. They are really pretty. Here, let me just see. They've got the tops done like this. And at first glance, sometimes it just looks like a, I think these were $4 each. So it's a no-brainer, isn't it? Um, God, there was so much stuff. It really was incredible. It was incredible. And if you're thinking about going next year, um, we should all make a plan, right? Because I will definitely be there again. So this one it looks so much better not on the monitor. Again, it's like heathery, like that dark natural color with all of these flecks of other color in it. Oh, it's so good, isn't it? It's just such a lump of goodness. And you know, it's so soft. It doesn't, you know, I don't like wool next to my throat, but it hardly feels like wool. It just feels like a big marshmallow. But yeah, these are all really pretty. Here, might as well. Let me just show you these. These are super pretty. I just love the different flecks of light. Oh, that last one was called Cosmos Royal Fusion. See, the names just get you. And this one I'm about to show you is called Hudson Bay. Interesting, because when I hear Hudson Bay, I think of either the Hudson River, which is very dark blue, or Hudson Bay blankets, which are like green, or no, blue, yellow, and green, right? Blue, yellow, and green. No, red, yellow. What color are Hudson Bay blankets? Now I can't think. It's the same as the stupid traffic sign, right? Well, this color is called Hudson Bay, and it's just so airy and autumny, isn't it? And of course, what you can do with this, it's got a little bit of green in. What you can do with this stuff, obviously, is spin it into yarn, right? So a lot of the vendors at the fair, they had, for example, like stupid amounts of this, like this exact one. And you could get it in different quantities. The bags were pre-made, but you could get them in different quantities. And sometimes it showed you a little piece of yarn next to it to give you an idea of what it would look like once it's spun and ready to be used as yarn, right? Carol, I'm definitely coming back. I just don't know if I can wait until next fall. I don't know if I can wait a full year. That seems like such a long time. Because now I feel like that's my second home, you know, and it was so, once the plane moved, it was easy to get there. But it was quite easy to get there. And now I don't feel like I'm afraid of flying anymore. Isn't that incredible? It just took a reminder that it's really not that bad, is it? This one's called Phoenix Flame, so you know what to expect here. Hoping there's some red in here. There's definitely some red in here. It's really pretty. It's very subtle, though. Right? Very subtle. Right? Just beautiful autumn colors, like a little bit of light blue and periwinkle flecks in there. So, Juliet, the whole time I was there, I was thinking about you and you doing that spinning and the drop spindle demonstration when we were in Hartford. And I was just getting like all excited thinking about what the possibilities were. My main problem with these bats, right, these bats, and big bag I showed you from Omi, is I don't know that I want them to look different. You know what I mean? I'm so in love with them the way that they are. Um, I don't know that I want them to look different. And I don't know that I want them to look like yarn. Do you know what I mean? I'm scared for it's, sometimes that's why with that yard long I did of the sheep last year, oh, I think it's called Counting Sheep, right? That is what it was called. And I had each sheep a different color of roving. I hooked the roving because I didn't want to change it at all. I didn't even want to spin it with my fingers or twist it with my fingers because I just loved the way that the roving looked. Hudson Bay blanket is red, green, and yellow. Thank you. I don't know why I had navy in my head right there. Interesting. Our blue. Oh, see, we're getting different reports. I know Hampton House is Jay. He sells a lot of them. It could be that they are different colors, though, couldn't it? That there are. I know there's the different stripes on them for the quality, right? There's like a number of stripes. So much you can do with bats. You can prep and spin them so many ways and get such varied effects. Yeah, I mean, I'm ordering a book on it, so I think I might have already ordered it actually. Not that I accidentally buy stuff; it's just I pushed through some stuff in my Amazon cart. It could have been one of those things. Um, Judy says maybe it's time to take up needle felting or wet felting. I've done a lot of needle felting. I might do some wet felting. Oh, good thing you said that, Judy. Guess what? You are like a prophet, right? Because guess what's next? This isn't me doing the wet felting. This is someone else having done the wet felting. But this is what everyone thought was a sneaky rug that I was buying at the festival in the pictures, and it's not. I'll show it to you close up, but it's a giant piece of um, felt, right? This I think has been wet felted, and it's just the background. So let me show it to you close up. See, it's not going to look like much there. Maybe it's better to do this because it goes from like, can you tell how it's like super, okay, maybe this is the best view. It's got some super greens in it, and then it fades to like other sort of oranges. It's a large thing. Do you see all this? $25 for this. They had a whole bunch of these, this nice thick piece of wool. It is scratchy. I would not want this on my throat, but it is enormous. So this is doubled up right here, right? This is doubled up and it's still enormous. So I was thinking about, because you could cut it, right? And we saw in some gift stores, people used backings like this. It is quite rough, but would be very nice to needle felt or to wool applique into. So I was thinking about cutting it in half because who needs anything this big? Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I do. Actually, I wonder if that would go well over the. Well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what transpires. But it's a beautiful big piece. For 25, they had a whole bunch of different colors and stuff. I almost put it back because I couldn't think of what to do with it. But I just loved the gradation, the soft autumny colors moving across it like that. Um, Absolutely loved this. So this is a to be continued. What about mini punch? Would that go through it? I don't think so. I don't think so. Because it is quite open. So while it's not a woven, you know what I mean? It's attached to, the material is attached to itself. But it's not a woven. I don't know. I don't know. Um, I think mini punch would be small. Has anybody tried traditional punch into this kind of thing? Um, I don't know. I might give it. It's a very uneven edge too. I think it's been in the wet felting process, been kind of pulled, right? So it has a lot of variety, but it was such an odd thing. And for $25, this much wool for $25, there's like I thought of 100 things I could do with it. So I don't know. I'm wondering if anybody has that would make some nice. It would make some nice quillies. It would make some large quillies if you were doing like a true standing rug and you wanted them to be. Oh God, that scared me. I thought it was a bug. It was just the bag. I put it in a weird place. I felt something tickling between my toes. That's all I need, right? Overturn the computer and the beer and everything else. But this is a to be continued. I want to see. I want to follow this thought through. See, it's very irregular on top. But we noticed in gift stores, people had backings like this that were wet felted backings, right? And they had done tons of beautiful applique onto it. And I thought, ooh, that sounds good. That sounds good. And so after I got this, I don't want to fold it in the middle because I don't want to put too much stress on it. It's still a piece of wool, right? So I've been handling it fairly carefully. Can always reblock something like this too, right? Because it's wool and it has a great memory. Time check. Okay, we're getting there. So when I bought that, I then had to buy, get ready. I thought I had tons of time and I ran out really quickly. This. It's more bat. But I mean, these like it's just different colors. And these were, I mean, it was silly how little this cost. I feel like, Kaz, do you remember how much these were? I feel like they were $2 or $3 each. They're probably $3 each. But all, again, not great nighttime, but cotton candy shades, kind of pistachio sage. I was trying to get autumny shades, right? Some of them are like red and orange mixes. I mean, they weren't more than $3. I know that for sure. And like the nice bright yellows, right? I mean, yeah, I think so, Kaz. I think three. Because, yeah, I mean, it's, how do you walk away from this stuff? Now, these are more solid, so I would be more inclined to make these to spin these a little bit. This one has like a yellowy or like a vanilla center, and it's a nice cranberry color. These are and these are a bit rougher, right? These are a little more rougher as bats than the Omi ones, for example, but beautiful color changes. And, oh, I wonder if she took, yeah, she did. So there were two sets that were the thing that got us going. Oh no, they're still here. She had sets like this. It's a little bit falling apart, but on wreaths, and these are $13 for one, one, two, three, four. So five of them for 13, right? And they had them like on these wire wreaths in every kind of color configuration. The company's called, just in case they sell online, they probably do, Farm Blend Roving by Frivolous U, EWE. And these are called color wheels, and they're $13. I got this one with the peaches and the apricots and the russets and the golds, and I got this one. Yeah, this one is more sort of neutrals. They kind of came undone with my packing, but they were super pretty hanging up. They look like little wreaths, you know, every color combination. And then when I was working off of these two, that's when I got going with like, okay, so thinking about that other thing as a background, right? Super neutrals, but beautiful, warm, rosy neutrals, right? And then beautiful orange colors. Then I got going with getting all the other fall colors and the pinks and the cool greens. That's just my color palette, and some cranberries and everything. Like this entire bag with all of this stuff coming out of it was like $60. Like for all of it, right? $60 is like 2 skeins of yarn, right? Just a reminder. It's like incredible with the roving. That's why I'm so keen with the bat, not the roving. That's why I'm so keen to get into this more and figure out how we can use this more. Super fun, super economical. I would love to start dyeing this stuff also, right? I'm still always going to buy other people's stuff because I love to play with other people's stuff. But hopefully you like to play with my stuff. That didn't sound right, but you know what I mean. And yeah, and the world keeps turning, right? I got this wool from one of the rug hooking stalls. I thought that was super pretty. This is door wool, but I don't have this one. And with Halloween coming, I thought, oh, that's a very nice one. Very, very nice. And what else? Oh, well, gosh, hang on. Kaz, you gave me so many treasures. I'm going to be, like, I'm already, right, in trouble. I'm going to be in really big trouble. But I am going to go back to the gym on Monday. And then I got a ton of stuff like this coffee, like tons of coffees and things like that. Let me see if I got any more crafty rafties. Did I get any more crafty rafties? I don't think I did. I got some kitchen stuff. I'm looking at the kitchen stuff. I'm so crazy. And stuff like this, you know, there's just different things in different parts of the country. A lot of gnome stuff and mushroom stuff around Door County. So there was a springtime book, the winter book of gnomes by Kirsten Savick. And yeah, I really don't saw off the branch you're sitting on. It's like little one-liner, right? Like little words to live by. But with all these little gnomes in it there. I bought some gnome stuff and like little mushroom stuff. And gosh, I found some fun stuff. Carol, you gave me this great book, Good Eats and Gathering by Rochelle Hoffman. And this is the girl you said you had saw the day before or something. and you said, "Oh, this book is going to be so good." It's about a cranberry farm, and local. So I'm super excited to look at this because we have cranberries here too. So it might work that I can actually do some of these recipes. But it looked so amazing. I got so many treasures. But I think that was I think that was it. No, but I could have done a lot worse. I mean, I could have truly um, gone off my chain and needed to send multiple boxes home. But I got what I felt I needed. I was beyond excited, just beyond. Because isn't it the best when you go somewhere and you buy something that is for a future project? Because it's like you're not just buying something, you're buying something that represents a future project that you're going to love doing, you're going to love planning and working on. Um, and it's just something to look forward to, isn't it? So that's why I love buying supplies more than anything. Supplies and books, because you're going to log a lot of hours enjoying it, right? It's not like a flash in the pan kind of a purchase. It's like you're going to be loving it for a long time. So, oh no. See, I don't know how I did the box, but I left the entire bag out. I'll just put that in separate. No, I can't, right? It's going to fall out. I'll take these out and give these to the kids. Anyway, it was really fun catching up with you this Friday night. It really was an incredible event, the Wisconsin Bible Festival. And it's always the same week of every year. Kaz, do you want to do the plug? Because it's always the first weekend? Was it the first weekend? Because it's only the 15th now. So I think it was the first weekend in September. And Kaz and I said next year, there was a lot of classes that looked amazing. And of course, they were all sold out. I'm going to stop making noise in a second. There we go. Get in there, sucker. Everything was sold out, long ago. And we said next year we're going to look at the different classes and see what there is that we might sign up for. I'm gonna do stuff like that's outside of my comfort zone, things I haven't done before. There's some very like project specific classes where you make like a specific kind of a broom, like a cobweb broom or something, or or a witch, or like a specific doll. Like there's dozens of offerings over the course of I think 3 or 4 days. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, yeah. So and Brenda was there on Thursday for locker hooking, but we weren't there till Saturday. So that was like a world away. I can't imagine what stuff was there on Thursday that I missed. Oh, frantic. But yeah, don't be in scarcity mode, right? Because there's so much good stuff, and everything I bought I absolutely love so much. So beautiful woolly things. Thanks, Pamela. The weekend after Labor Day, that's a good fixed point. It's always fun to see what other people are buying and what their ideas are. I'm very Halloween heavy right now. So if you noticed, I bought a lot of like glittery stuff and purple stuff, and I like bright Halloween colors more than I like the spooky colors. I like all, but I like the really bright colors. So that's I was kind of digging in every booth to that kind of color palette. But I could have gone even crazier, much crazier. I got my mom a great Christmas present and birthday present, which comes before. But I got the birthday present the next day. So many fun things, so many fun things. Make sure you post, speaking of our group, our Facebook group, make sure that you post in our group. If you go to great festivals, or even better, before you go to the festival and there's something great that's going to be at it, make sure that you post, the dates of the festival or whatever. And even if you forget to do that, please still make a post and show like some of the stuff that you found. And I didn't actually see any sheep because we were killing it, right? But I would love to see photos of other festivals in different parts of the country, and what you all are buying and picking up and what you plan to do with it and all of that. Even send me photos like that for gallery night. I'd love to talk about that stuff on gallery night. I just want to tell you while it's on my mind that coming up, I will be September 28th driving to New Hampshire, Kathy, for the rug show in Deerfield, New Hampshire. And okay, so the Rhinebeck Fiber Festival in Rhinebeck, New York is the weekend of October 19 to 22. So that's another, I think that's the biggest one in my part of the country. So my plan is to go there on the 19th, just for the day. Um, um, because I have an event on the 20th, so that cuts it short. But that's coming up on the 19th. Um, yeah, I have a bunch of fairs on my calendar, like the Roseland Cottage Fair is the weekend before. That's in Woodstock, Connecticut. It's not fiber per se, but there's lots of jewelry, and there were hooked rugs and some punch needle stuff at the last one. Last year, that's Roseland Cottage, the weekend of October 14 and 15. But I'd love to fluff out our calendar with your events too, so that we know what's going on. And if people want to travel and you're feeling inspired, you don't have a project in mind, but you know that you'll know it when you see it, or at least you're going to buy it and then you're going to think about it, right? And figure out what the project is after. Pamela says SAFF is the same weekend as Rhinebeck for all of us Southerners. And what's that stand for? SA South? Nope. Something SA Savannah Fiber Festival. Is that Savannah Fiber? It's got to be something Fiber Festival. Interesting. Brent said they had yummy bars of soap at the festival. They did have yummy bars of soap. And it's funny that you say that. That was one of the things that I wanted to go back for, the whimsical going back idea, and then I forgot. So there was a few things that I forgot that I wanted, like the amazing soaps that were making the whole place smell amazing. And there was one guy who was selling um, lavender is anti-moth, right? He was selling like a lavender oil, and I almost got it, like to put around because I have like the electric moth stuff that you plug in just so there's like no chance of moths. But I also San Antonio. Oh, San Antonio Fiber Festival. Is that it? Oh, that's really smart. Um, yeah, he had this. It was very different smelling because I have a lot of cedar stuff too at home, but I don't bring it in here because I don't know if everybody likes the scent of cedar, and I don't want to have stuff that's scented. And I almost bought it, and I might buy it yet. It was like a lavender anti-moth oil that you just put on cotton balls or whatever, and you just put them around, and it definitely keeps the moths away. But I chickened out at the last minute because I realized it, besides the lavender smell, it had a smell that was a little bit like patchouli. And I'm not a huge patchouli person myself. It was very faint, but I thought if someone was not a patchouli person and I sent them some fiber and it happened to be near one of these cotton balls, they might not be happy. So I ended up not, but I wish I would have gotten one to have at home. And there was cheese there too, and I didn't go back for the cheese, and I wanted to go back for the cheese. And these are things I think about afterward and go, oh, But I mean, obviously, I got plenty of stuff, so it's not like I was crying myself to sleep at night at all. It's in Fletcher, North Carolina. Southeastern Animal. Okay, Southeastern Animal Fiber Festival. Very good. Oh, that sounds very good. It's in North Carolina. That's not that far, but it is the same weekend as the Rhinebeck. And I have a feeling that my friend Naomi will be at Rhinebeck, so I'll probably go to that just to stop in and say hello and see if she wants help with manning the stall or whatever, if she needs to do something. But yeah, that's my intention, is to do that too. So, but yeah, definitely record as much as you can. Let us know what's happening in different places. It will be fall again, God willing. And we'll have another chance next year to make our plans, our travel plans, and get out to some of these great fairs, because certainly the one in Wisconsin was over the top. I'm never missing that. I'm never missing that. If I miss that, it's going to be because my head is hanging on by a thread, because I'm just not going to miss that. I'm going to be there every time. It was so much fun. Thank you so much to my friends out there who hosted me and brought me around to all of these great places. It really was not only, I'm not going to choke myself up, it was not only what I needed, it was just like one of these great trips of a lifetime. And I just felt like all my friends out there were people who I have always known. And I love it when that happens. I love it when that happens. And I thought that Wisconsin was this incredible, like, remote place, but it wasn't. I was wrong, and I love to be wrong. It was super artsy, galleries and wineries and breweries and beautiful shops. I mean, everything was beautiful. It was fantastic. So, to be continued. And I will show you as we go along all of the beautiful things I'm going to make out of all these great materials. It was really fun. Debbie says, I love the idea of doing drop spindle videos. I've always wanted to learn. I'm going to give it a shot. Seriously, I'm going to give it a shot, because those Omi bats are driving me nuts. What a weird sentence. They're driving me crazy. They're driving me batty. Yeah, I can't wait to try them, and I don't want them to change that much. I think that's my best chance for getting a big, fat piece of fiber that I could hook with. I think that's my best chance without altering them too much. You know, I really, really love them. So that's a big to be continued. Lots of videos coming up because I have both books in, and I am working on another secret book project, but I'm not telling anybody about it. I will tell you about it first, but I haven't been telling publishers or anybody about it yet. So the second design like is already like ready to go, right? So that's like I'm just waiting for word on that. But I have a completely different project in the pipeline. I just want to take my time this time, but I am working on some great stuff. And a lot of the stuff I have is going to go into those projects. So that's a big to be continued. And Juliet says, spindle is a gateway drug. Oh, I know I'm going to want a wheel or an Eastburn. I know I am. The thing is, it's a gateway. And it's like, yeah, then I'm going to want like these cool spinners. You know what they had? I took a video. It was hard to hear, so I didn't post it. There were girls who are on the regular spinning wheel with the two pedals that go like this, the 2-foot pedals. But there was also a woman, and I didn't get a video of this, who was on one of the walking wheels, which is like the giant, big Civil War era wheel, right? Giant, right? Like enormous. I meant that was another thing in the aisle with the soaps that I meant to go back and take a picture of it or take a video of her doing it, and I forgot. So next year for that, but it was all super seductive, all of the machines and everything. But the thing is, if I get like some kind of a spinning wheel, then the next thing is obviously sheep, right? So it's like one foot on a banana peel and the other like in a future farm of some sort, because it can't be in the house I have right now. Is there still a Monterey sheep and wool show? Oh, does anybody know the answer to that? Monterey, California? I wonder if there is. Melanie says, oh, and Juliet says, Pamela, right. I have one with a foot pedal wheel, and 3 e-spinners. Oh man, Juliet, I loved the little table spinner, the travel spinner that you showed us in Hartford that just sat on the table. Like, that was really cool, and that wasn't a total bank breaker either, right? That was like 300, something like that. That I was really amazed and impressed by that, and it did a very nice soft white noise, which I thought was nice too. When I'm listening to my Audible books and stuff like that, I like to be able to hear stuff. Walking rails are usually used for cotton or linen. Oh, interesting, Melanie. Well, that makes a lot of sense because in that era, right, like homespun, that's really interesting. That is an electric eel wheel 6.0. I love the name of that too. E-spinners are on my wish list. I'm going to have to look up e-spinners. I like the electric eel wheel 6.0. Sounds like something from a James Bond movie. So fun. All right, I'm going to head back. I'm afraid those kids are, if they're watching the show, they're like, where's the candy, Mom? Shut your hole and drive back home, right? So I'm going to drive back home and bring them their candy. Huge thank you, Kaz, for all the treasures you gave me. Huge thank you to all my buddies in Wisconsin. It really was like the best time. There's not a word yet for old friends who've just met me. Oh, is that a quote from Jim Henson? Jim Henson, there's not a word yet for old friends who've just met. That is so good. Uh-oh. That's a rug, isn't it? That's a rug. That's so true. So true. They make it very tight. Something thread. That stupid thing is in the way again. Oh, I love that, Brenda. I'm going to take a quick picture of that. I'm afraid I'm going to forget that. I absolutely love that. If I had read that first, I would have maybe put that on our Wisconsin patterns, maybe next year. Let's see. All right. It was a great time. Oh, it wasn't all that way. It was perfect. I needed it. It was perfect, and it's so great to explore another part of the country. I really am on this thing where I want to plan stuff for us to do together, and I am planning an event for next fall. So I'll keep you in the loop with that. But I do want to spend a lot more time in the future planning stuff in different parts of the country. I know not everybody goes to Sauder or to ATHA Biennial. I know not everybody does that, and I know not everybody sounds awful, but wants to do that, right? It's like different strokes, right? And yeah, I really want to get a calendar going where there's lots of stuff going on. And if anyone's anywhere near, you know where to latch up and meet up with other buddies and just relaxed, right? Anything goes, working on whatever project, even knitting or reading or no project or whatever, just having some time together. Because we don't always feel like doing anything all the time, right? Not even our favorite thing. If you did it all the time, you know what happens? you get a knot like in the back of your neck that they have to stick needles in and wiggle around to make it go away. It's true, isn't it? You're not supposed to do anything all the time. So it's fun to just meet up with no ex. We didn't get any hooking done, did we, Kaz? I mean, I hooked for like, I don't know, 3 minutes, and then I got involved with Timu on my phone. So, all right, happy, thanks, Linda. Happy weekend, everybody. Um, Happy you got to go, but glad you're back home. I know it is fun. It is fun running shows, and the kids missed me a lot. But it is also nice to know that the world didn't end because I kind of thought it would. Not that I'm so important, just that just this stupid imaginary feeling that in the great puppet show of life, when my strings are missing from the show, you get like the lonely goat herd or whatever with like half of the cast. And I was just worried about the kids making their way to school and having stuff to do, and then everything. I was afraid people were going to write and be canceling orders. My bank account would be going down, down, down while I'm over there shopping. I was worried about everything from transportation to people having rug hooking emergencies and being mad at me, and nothing happened. Like nothing happened. So it's good it takes me down many notches, and I love that because it does mean that I might be able to do stuff in the future without having the weight of the world, like I'm like a female Atlas, right? Worried that everything is going to crumble if I don't wake up in the morning and do my same stupid routine. It's good to be reminded of that too. Happy weekend, everybody. I'm teaching in Madison on Sunday. I'm going to be working on orders tomorrow, and I will be up to date with everybody's orders tomorrow. I will start putting together trick or treat bags. I have a lot of stuff coming up for you, and I will post something for design like the playing card tarot card and the dying class. I'll put both of those things up this weekend too. So you have a chance to sign up for both of those, and I hope that you do. Carol, you love that quote too. Oh, so super fun. And I will see if I don't see you on Sunday in person at Madison for the mini punch class, I will see you on Monday, and we will look at the end of I can't believe I did that, the end of the Cream City Rug Show. And then we'll figure out what our next thing is. I will see you Monday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Happy weekend to you all too. It was great seeing everybody tonight. Remember to send in your gallery stuff for next Friday night. Ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com. Right? Send it in. Get it in there so it gives us some good stuff to talk about.